These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
In a Monday Night Football doubleheader, the Buccaneers won a thriller late over the Texans 20-19, while the Chargers dismantled the Raiders 20-9. We will break down Baker Mayfield's game-winning drive and discuss just how good Justin Herbert and the Chargers have been, and just the opposite for the Raiders, Geno Smith, and rookie running back Ashton Genty so far in the young season. Then we will dive into the playoff races in Major League Baseball in both the AL and NL as the season rapidly comes to its close with less than 2 weeks remaining. Can the Mets hold on to the final playoff spot in the West? And what do we make of the Guardians and Rangers' late surge into relevancy as the Red Sox hold a slim margin for the final spot in the AL? And before we find out what's in like Flynn and see what's good with Goody's bag of balls, we will crack a six-pack with Speedy and go over Week 3 NFL picks on another all gas, no brakes, receipt-taking, action-packed, live Wednesday night edition of Jabba and the Mouth.
Give him a significant. They're going to have a ton of money to spend. Why not put it in one of the top 3 offensive players in the league? We're going to be looking at Aaron Judge and saying that he can't win the big game. Michael Jordan said, I played 82 games. You don't see LeBron doing that.
This is a game where you got to go perform.
I told you, Giant fans, that Saquon Barkley, at this point, I'm gonna fight them all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off. Take it down. Say whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Really? And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And the name's coming from my eyes. Can't get it alone.
Let's do it. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to a very new show of Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman. On the board, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pooper Scooper himself, Tommy Scoops, and the one and only NR Hour himself, Nathan in the back room, our HR human resource man, I don't know, PR guy, Mr. Nith. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and The Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You know, it's so funny. I order these jerseys in another country, all right? I order these fresh, new look jerseys for this show. I only wear them for these shows. And I usually get Loudmouth or the Mouth on the back of it. And I told this company I do not want number 30 and Steph Curry. I said that, do not send me a Curry jersey. And what did they do? They sent me a Stephen Curry jersey. So I'm wearing a very sexy Warriors jersey. I love it. One of my favorite colors is orange. Purple and orange are my two favorite colors. And I was so excited. I saw it in the mail and I said, hey, wait, I'm going to get a chance to wear that fresh orange Warrior jersey. And then I open it up before the show and I'm like, oh, this is fresh. And I turn it around and it has Curry number 30. I was absolutely pissed off, but hey, you know what? It's not an ugly jersey. Steph Curry is a great player, so I'm not going to complain. I do like it, but they better send me my jersey. I want my number 63, the Mouth jersey. Jabba, what's up, man?
Nada, what's going on? I'm just trying to get stuff all figured out today. Yeah, it's a day.
It's just Nebraska. It's the weather over there. Maybe it's just like rainy and disgusting like it's been all day for us. It went from sunshine in the morning to rain to sunshine again to rain again. It doesn't make any sense here in Long Island, New York. And if you live here on the island, you live in New York, you honestly can't bet on the weather. And the weather people, you have these beautiful women. They're standing right in front of the cameras, showing you what the weather's going to be. And you see these weird guys standing there with their fresh haircuts and their nice suits and their nice, beautiful ties, stand there and tell you, hey, the weather is 60% going to rain or 60% it's going to be 75 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, they're 75% usually wrong. So if you ever want to go and check out the weather, do not watch the news broadcast. I'm telling you right now. They're horrible.
I would want to be a meteorologist. They don't have to be right to still get paid.
They get paid a lot of money.
I know it could be wrong.
I know a meteorologist that makes over $150K a year, and all she does probably 3 times a week is speak on a television camera for about 7 to 8 minutes. That's what she does. And she gets paid $150K. She just has to look good. She wears her nice, sexy outfits, and she's all ready to impress all her managers, her directors, or her producers, whoever. But I want to say something before the show starts. What really gets me popping every single day is watching some of these old movies. And there's one particular movie. It doesn't get old for me. I can watch it over and over and over again. And everybody that knows my background, I have an Italian background, and one of my favorite movies of all time is Goodfellas. So what I was doing today to get charged up, get ready for the show, is watch Goodfellas. And what's so crazy about that movie is there are parts in that movie, no matter how many times you watch it, there are things that you see that you really never recognized. And there is a part in the movie when Joe Pesci is burying, he's burying the mafia kid, or the mafia guy, with Robert De Niro and his group, and they're burying him. And everybody knows the story. And he does something on camera that I didn't notice. And he puts as he's burying the guy, he puts his finger in his nose. So he's like picking his nose on camera while he's burying a body during the movie. So I never noticed it. And I was watching and I was like, wait a second. I rewinded it. And the guy has his finger in his nose. So, I mean, I don't know any killer that actually kills somebody and he's burying somebody that actually puts his finger in his nose while he's, ending this man's life or burying this guy. So I don't know. It was something that really stuck out to me in the movie. Again, it's a movie that I can never get sick of. I can watch it over and over and over again. And it's one of those movies that I'm a Joe Pesci fan. It doesn't matter what movie Joe Pesci is in. I love it. I mean, some of the movies that he's been in, movies that you probably don't even remember in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, My Cousin Vinny, those kind of movies. But there are other movies that he has been in that you probably don't remember because they weren't as big as some of the movies he's been in. And I can watch any one of the movies that he's been in. It could be a love story. It could be a drama. It could be action. It could be a killer movie. I love Joe Pesci. So what are you saying over here? I don't know what Tommy's doing over here. Anyways, we have a great show lined up for you guys. A little bit later in the show at 9:45, we will be talking to former Jaguars, Broncos, and Cowboys defensive lineman and defensive end Jeremy Mincy. He's been on a show before, producer and now reality TV star on YouTube. So he does a reality show called The Mincies with his family. And the cameras follow him around with him and his family. His kids are big sports athletes. One of his daughters, I think, is a basketball player, pretty good one too. So I don't know if anybody knows who Jeremy Mincy is. He's been on our show. If you're a football fan, you've heard of Jeremy Mincy, especially with the Broncos. That's the team that I remember Jeremy Mincy on. When we had him first on the show, that was the team that I remember him on. One year, I think he had 7.5 sacks.
In a 3-4 defense.
Yeah. So I followed Jeremy Mincy's career over the years. I don't remember him as a Jaguar. I don't really remember him as a Cowboy, even though the team that every time he comes on the show, he tells me his favorite team to play for was the Cowboys. The Broncos is the team that really stuck out to me out of all the teams he's played for. So very interesting. He's an interesting dude. He knows his stuff. I'll tell you that right now. He knows his football and has a very good personality. We get guys on this show, and we've had it many, many times, different guys, different personalities, from football to baseball to hockey to basketball. And some of them just, you don't like their personalities. They're just flat. They flatline you. And for some reason, every time Jeremy comes on the show, he just has this unique personality. He's always smiling, and he always has his kids in the background. Yes. Always.
But you're not going to call a dude out that puts you to sleep. Like
I do. Come on, Jobby, you know me. I've called a lot of people.
Okay, who's put you to sleep?
Speedy, who is the cornerback that we've had on the show he did get arrested with
Brashad Breeland.
Brashad Breeland
put me to sleep 2 months ago.
Yeah, Brashad Breeland put me to sleep for about 20 minutes before I got him out of his cocoon and actually started to speak. I mean, the problem with some of these athletes, and I'll say this, when you ask them a question, and I don't really, if anybody listens to the show, when I interview people, I don't really ask a question. I kind of interact with you like I'm sitting at a lunchroom table. I have a little fun with the athlete, and we see how they open up. I want to open them up. And there are certain athletes, they answer questions, especially the younger ones, the younger kids. They answer it with one answer. When you ask them a question, you get into a conversation. They answer you with one sentence words. And that's all they do. Yes, no, maybe, okay, yeah. It's just back and forth. I'm like, what is this? Is this an interview or just am I interviewing you for a job? That's what it feels like sometimes when we get some of these college kids on the show. They don't, obviously they've never been in these situations before. They're either a 5-star recruit, 4-star recruit, and they're getting interviewed by their school newspaper or some stupid magazine. So they don't really know how to answer questions when they're on a live radio show or a podcast. So it's definitely a turnoff when you get to know some of these younger kids, because they have absolutely no idea how to answer any of the questions, and they get, a little uncomfortable. So I would say Brashad Breeland was somebody that stuck out to me the most. And again, I've had a long day, and usually when you do a radio show, and Jabba, you've had a long day, and you're taking care of some stuff with your family, and your son just went back to college, and I don't have that. I have a job, and I work at a hospital, and I see a lot of crazy things every single day. And today I saw somebody pass away right in front of my eyes. Oh. So it's definitely something that you don't want to experience. It's not something that I want to brag about, but I was actually closer. I was in the ER, and I was walking out of the ER when I heard the sound of what do they call that in the background, like the
flatline.
And I I heard them screaming. They were trying to bring him back to life, and he passed away, and his family was crying. It was a horrible, horrible day for me. When you see something like that, I experienced watching my father passing away and my grandfather passing away. So it's not something that anybody should experience. Anyways, this is supposed to be a fun show, not a show that's going to make you cry. Tampa Bay Buccaneers came back late in the fourth quarter to beat the Houston Texans 20-19 to improve to 2-0 on the season. The Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield led an 11-play, 80-yard game-winning touchdown drive, scoring with 6 seconds left in the game. The Buccaneers dominated on the ground, gaining over 169 yards at 5.6 yards a clip between Mayfield, who scrambled for 33 yards, and running backs Bucky Irvin, who's fantastic, and Rashad White, who scored the game-winning touchdown. Rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka scored another touchdown, his third in the first 2 games of the season and his career. The Texans fall to 0-2 and have now allowed 9 sacks in the first 2 games, while being one of the only 3 teams that don't have a 100-yard receiver so far this season. Since 1990, only 12% of the teams that have started 0-2 have made the playoffs, but the Texans did pull that off in 2023, C.J. Stroud's rookie year. The Chargers also improved to 2-0 with a 20-9 win over the Raiders in the second game of a Monday night doubleheader. Justin Herbert had 242 yards and 2 touchdowns and is third in passing yards and second in passing touchdowns to begin the season. Geno Smith struggled greatly, going 24 for 43 for 180 yards and 3 picks. Since 2022, Geno leads the entire NFL with 39 interceptions. Ashton Genty's slow start is still a concern. I don't know about that, as he had just 11 carries for 43 yards and 3 catches for just 1 receiving yard in the game. He is averaging only 2.7 yards per carry 2 games into his rookie campaign. I want to go into the first game, the Buccaneers. And the reason why I want to get into it, because I stand for a lot when it comes to a guy like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a guy that is one of my favorite players in the NFL. I love watching him play, his personality, the passion that he has to play the game. And when he went to the Buccaneers, there were a lot of questions over there with the Buccaneers, taking over for a guy like Tom Brady, a team that won a Super Bowl. And Baker Mayfield, really, after he left the Browns, he jumped from one team to another and finally found a place that he felt more comfortable in and had the weapons to succeed. Todd Bowles is the defensive coordinator. He took over the job over Bruce Arians. And a lot of people question Todd Bowles because Todd Bowles failed with the New York Jets. He was there for 3.5 years and then was fired. And you look at Todd Bowles, we know what he is as a football player. He's one of the best safeties of the 80s, late 80s and early 90s. The guy was a superb type of defensive type of player. But over the years, Todd Bowles, as a defensive coordinator, has really succeeded under Bruce Arians. Nobody really believed that this guy can succeed as a head coach. But over the last 2.5, 3 seasons, he's really developed a good understanding on success in the NFL. And in a division that the Buccaneers are in, where you don't really have to worry about much. I mean, you have the Carolina Panthers trying to rebuild with a new coach in Canales. You have the Atlanta Falcons that have a new coach and have a rookie quarterback. You understand that the position that the Buccaneers are in every single year is to win the division. Mike Evans is a borderline Hall of Famer. This is a team that has a great running game in Irving, who I think is a sensational running back. I have him. Bucky Irving is one of my guys on one of my fantasy teams, one of my first picks of the first 2 rounds. He's a sensational player that really transitioned as an NFL player last year. When you look at the Buccaneers, you try to question what this team really is. Are they an offensive sound team or are they a defensive sound team? Usually, one team is stronger than the other at a certain side, offensive or defensive side. But with the Buccaneers, I think they're strong on both sides of the ball. I think they have one of the best offensive tackles in the league in Worth. I think he's as good as anybody in the league. He's proven to be. If he could stay healthy, the guy is unbelievable. Their defense, front seven, is one of the best in the league. They put a lot of pressure. They got good, strong safety play. Even their corners are pretty good. And you need those weapons. You have the running backs in White and Irving, like I was just saying. You have the wide receivers and Evans, who has stuck out. Now, there's another wide receiver that needs to get healthy, but we're watching a nice young player in Emeka Egbuka really start to flourish as a young wide receiver in the NFL. He needed to be number 2 this year because of the injuries that the Buccaneers usually have in the beginning of the season, and he hasn't disappointed. And the crazy thing about the Buccaneers is, I don't know if they have to chase because they're in such a poor division. It might be the worst division in football. You argue maybe the AFC East is that bad too. So I could go back and forth because I'm a Jet fan, and the AFC East is just not good right now. New England's not good. Miami's not good. The Jets are not good. The only team really is good in that division is Buffalo. Buffalo looks like they're going to run away with the division. The fact is, when I look at the NFC, we talk about the powerhouses. We talk about the Eagles. We talk about the Rams. That's what we talk about. We talk about the Commanders. We talk about the North, where you could go with the Lions, the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings. Doesn't look like Chicago's going to be any good. You look at the Buccaneers, and do the Buccaneers really stick out like a sore thumb like the teams I just mentioned? The answer would be no, because if you look at the quarterback play, a lot of people will look at Baker Mayfield as a mediocre quarterback. But over the last 2 seasons, especially in the second half of games, Baker Mayfield is one of the best second half quarterbacks in all of the NFL. If you look at the numbers, numbers don't lie. And Baker really stands for a lot more than just a football player. He's a guy that was always undersized. He was a guy that was always looked at as a troublemaker playing for Oklahoma. He was a guy that a lot of people question, was he a first-round draft pick? And the fact that the Browns took a chance that year where you had a bunch of quarterbacks. You had Josh Allen, right? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold. You would have thought that Baker Mayfield probably falls in the second round. But when you look at that quarterback class, and you look at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who are obviously the two of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, Baker Mayfield now has become a top 10 quarterback. You could argue Baker Mayfield could be a top 7 quarterback. Now you look at that draft class where you thought Sam Darnold or Rosen were going to be those type of quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, he's a borderline decent quarterback. He had a great season last year with the Minnesota Vikings. Now he's playing for Seattle, and he's chasing. Rosen's not even in the NFL anymore. You look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a two-time MVP and could be 3-time after this year. Josh Allen wins his first MVP last year. Baker Mayfield has never been looked at as an MVP type of player. But what makes him an MVP type of player to me is the way his team perceives him to be when he steps on that field. This guy is a leader. He's a born leader. You can see that every single teammate follows this guy. Win or lose, nobody speaks bad about this guy. Nobody speaks bad about Baker Mayfield. And that, to me, makes me wonder, can Tampa surprise the NFC this year and come out of the NFC? Everybody keeps talking about Green Bay and the Eagles and the Rams with Sean McVay and the talent defense that they have. They added Devontae Adams. They have Matthew Stafford, who's won a Super Bowl. They have Puka Nacua. Can the Buccaneers, with the defense they have, and if they can get healthy, can they come out of the NFC and surprise the NFC and the Super Bowl gods, as we say? And I would say yes. I think they can. I really do. I think they have everything to win and come out of the NFC. I don't know about Todd Bowles. I don't know if he's a Super Bowl champion. But I've said that about Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan's taken his team to a Super Bowl 2 times and was an offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons after choking against the New England Patriots.
They have the opposite clock management issues.
I think Todd Bowles is very capable of taking his team to a Super Bowl. And remember, he was the defensive coordinator of the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. So yes, I think they could. And then when you get a chance to watch the Texans this year, I mean, there's a lot of problems for the Texans. They decided to part ways with their number one offensive tackle in the offseason. They traded him away. Now, I understand he was expensive, but that offensive line anchored from him. And they decided to part ways with him and trade him. And you could see this offensive line. This is arguably one of the worst offensive lines right now in football. One player has changed C.J. Stroud and is understanding how to move inside and outside of the pocket and make high school throws. C.J. Stroud has made a lot of mistakes so far this year. And when you hear these numbers, as we pulled out in the monologue, he doesn't have one wide receiver that's broken over 100 yards yet this year. And you've got some good young players like Nico Collins. Everybody thought Nico Collins was going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league. The guy hasn't broken over 70 yards yet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem. They don't have a running game. They're betting on a guy that just came back from another major injury in Chubb. They have nothing that I believe could get this team to sneak into the playoffs. In an AFC, that especially a division that everybody thought they were going to run away with. The Colts are the best team in that division. I don't even think you could argue that anymore. The Jaguars, the Jaguars are the Jaguars. That division is going to be won and ruled by one team, the Daniel Jones Indianapolis Colts, because there's no way the Texans, with their schedule, the way it's set up, and the way this offensive line has played in the first 2 games, is going to win more than 6 games. There's no way. Just think about this. Everybody was talking about their coach winning Coach of the Year last year. This was one of the best teams in the AFC last year. And now deciding to part ways with their starting offensive tackle, it's ruined everything for them. It's put them in a bad situation. And that's what stands out to me. It was the battle of 2 teams, one team that could be a contender and another team that is a pretender. They have been a pretender before the season started because I drafted C.J. Stroud as my second quarterback. I saw that C.J. Stroud last year was a top 7 quarterback in fantasy. This year he fell out of the top 10. Why? And now I'm starting to realize that Lermy Tunsil was the reason why. Think about it. The guy that was smoking weed during the first round of the draft, that everybody was questioning if this guy's going to be an NFL player, that is the guy that has affected the offseason, and that is the guy that's affected this Texan team to succeed. So, I mean, it's crazy to think this. And the Buccaneers, 2-0, guess where they're going? They're heading home against who? The New York Jets. What are the chances the Jets are going to pull out a win against a team that is starting to figure out what their identity is 2 games into the season, and they're still not even at full strength? Think about that. They're arguably their second best wide receiver is still out and might not be back until game 6 or game 8. They don't even know when he's coming back yet. Think about it. That's how good this team could be. And by the way, they have a pretty good tight end as well. So, I mean, Baker Mayfield, I love what Baker had to say after the game. He said, this team's never out. We believe we can win every game. It doesn't matter how far we fall behind. We believe in each other. We believe in our coaches. We believe in what we can do on a football field. And we believe we can compete with any team in the NFL. And then there's the Chargers. I believe Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches and has been one of the best coaches in professional football and college football for the last 10 years. You saw what he did with Stanford. You saw what he did with San Francisco taking over for Singletary. You saw what he did for Michigan, finally winning a national championship. Did he cheat? Everybody cheats. The Chargers last year under the helm of Jim Harbaugh. Remember, he took over a team and a bunch of players that were not his guys. They were not his guys. He inherited Slater, who, by the way, is not healthy. He inherited Justin Herbert, who, by the way, last year wasn't healthy. This team, with the weapons they have, adding back Allen, you see the difference in what Allen gives to Justin Herbert. It gives him a blanket, a guy that he trusts in the open field. Need be, he needs to make a play. He's getting the ball to Keenan Allen. And they have one of the best tackles we have seen in a very long time in Alt. Taking over for Slater is out for the season. You just paid Slater in the offseason. You shift this guy, Joe Alt, to the left tackle from the right tackle position. We know he was a left tackle in college. And statistics would tell you he's the best tackle right now in the NFL. And it's not even an argument. You can't even argue that right now. The Chargers showed you in week 1 they can beat a Super Bowl contending team, as everybody believes the Kansas City Chiefs are contending this year. Beat Patrick Mahomes, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in Brazil on national television on a Friday night game, and made that 19-yard run that won the game for the Chargers. With the weapons that this team has, even without Slater this year, can they win the AFC? 100% can. As long as Justin Herbert is standing on his 2 feet and he has the running game. Now, there's a lot of questions with this running game. They have a young kid. They got a bunch of veterans here. They got to stay healthy. They stay healthy with Jim Harbaugh as their head coach. I mean, he's got these like thick glasses. I mean, he looks a little old and he still wears those ugly khakis. He looks a little out there sometimes. I'm surprised he doesn't wear suspenders. He would look pretty good with suspenders, Jim Harbaugh. But nevertheless, they're 2-0. And you can argue they're the best team in the AFC North. I mean, South. AFC West. I'm always messed up on AFC West. You look at the Broncos right now, they have not played well. Bo Nix has his sophomore year. If this is his sophomore year, this might not be a big year for Bo Nix. Kansas City, they're old. They look old. They do. They don't have a lot of weapons. You're going to bet on Xavier Worthy? Are you going to bet on Hollywood Brown? You got to wait for Rice. Do they make a trade to bring in Tyreek Hill if he becomes available?
Don't worry, they have Jeff's boy, Tyquan Thornton, Patriots legend.
Vegas, I'm not betting on Vegas. Pete Carroll's first year, Geno Smith made a tremendous amount of mistakes against the Chargers. Don't worry, I'm going to get into Geno Smith. The Chargers right now, you can argue, is the third best team in the AFC. You can argue this. If you think about it right now, Buffalo is better than them. Baltimore is better than them. After that, I'm going to tell you this right now. When I've watched their defense, and by the way, I love the Chargers defense. Now, they did lose a very important piece to their defense. I don't know if he's out for the season, but
he's at least on IR, so he's out at least 4 games.
Khalil Mack is a beast. You see how big he is. I mean, his arms are about the size of mine and Jabba's put together. The guy is unbelievably, built like a friggin' Hercules. The guy's a beast. Losing a guy like him, it does affect your defense. But what they have in the secondary and how they play and the way they play their defensive side of the game, I think that this team has all the cylinders to be a top 3 team in the AFC, maybe even a top 2 team. As far as the Chargers are concerned, Pete Carroll looks old. He looks like a deer.
He is old.
I know. He's the oldest coach in the NFL. But he looks like a deer in the headlights. Now, I love that he runs up and down the sidelines every single time.
And he can kill some gum too. Wow.
Yeah. That guy could run up and down the sidelines for a 73, 74-year-old man. That guy's got some stamina, man. He could do it. But you could see that maybe the game has passed him by. Maybe it has. Now, I'm not worried about Ashton Genty. I'm not. I know the numbers don't really stick out to you like a sore thumb. I'm not worried about him. The offensive line is not good. This is not a premier offensive line. I believe that Pete Carroll's going to have to use Ashton Genty in the open field. Some of these screen passes, he's going to have to be used a little bit like, I would say more like, I wouldn't even say Saquon Barkley. Not Montgomery. Who's Gibbs. The other guy? What? Gibbs. I would use him more like a Gibbs. That's what I would probably do. Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that likes to catch the ball in the backfield, use his speed and his power to run on the sidelines. I think that's what they're going at. If they want to open up the offensive books or offensive playbook for a Genty, you're going to have to use the speed on the outside that Genty provides. We saw it on Boise State. We saw what he did in college last year. I believe the Heisman Trophy winner. I want to see more of that. They have to use Ashton Genty to open up the offense for a Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is still playing well, but Brock Bowers is not going to be as good as we thought he was going to be unless they find a way to have a running game. And they don't have a running game in the first 2 games. Geno Smith stinks. He stinks. Now, I understand why Pete Carroll decided to go after him in the offseason when he took over this coaching job, because Geno Smith knows his offense. And he succeeded over there in Seattle when he took over for Russell Wilson. He did. He was good. But this is a different team. This is a much different team. He doesn't have DK Metcalf. He doesn't have Tyler Lockett. That is a good slot guy that you can, in the prime of his career, Tyler Lockett was a pretty good wide receiver. They don't have the running game that Walker provides or Zach Charbonnet. They don't have that kind of running game. They don't. And I like Ashton Genty, but he's one guy. He's one weapon. They don't have a double head monster in the backfield. They don't have that. They really don't. And their offensive line, which, by the way, Seattle's offensive line, thanks to the New York Giants, is pretty damn good. They have a good offensive line. They have 2 guys on the corners, offensive tackle and Cross, who the Giants should have drafted, by the way. Decided to not draft him. And they drafted somebody else who's Evan Neal, who's not even starting as a guard or a tackle. So they made a mistake there. Cross, it looks pretty good. And that offensive line is pretty damn good over the last couple of years. It wasn't very good with Russell Wilson, but after Geno Smith took over, they gave Geno Smith weapons on that offensive line. They don't have an offensive line over here with the Las Vegas Raiders. They don't. This offensive line is, again, a bottom tier offensive line. And you could see that the defense, even though the defense at some points this year, especially in game number 1, looked like they could play, there's so many deficiencies that they have. The linebacker position, I don't think they have a very good bunch of linebackers. They have one linebacker, but the other 2 aren't really that good. Their corner play, not very good. I just don't know if the Chargers this year are going to make noise, especially in a division that is going to be dominated by the Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chargers. I believe that 3 teams, at least 2, is coming out of the West. I believe it. But I'm going to tell you this right now. It's not going to be Vegas being one of them. So, I mean, Geno Smith did not look good in game number 2. And I think Geno Smith, I don't care what Geno has to say at the end of the game. I give him a lot of credit because he didn't throw anybody on the bus, but you could see him on the sidelines. He was not happy. You could tell that some of the guys were not running the routes that he wanted them to run. Maybe he was forcing the ball a little too much. That's why he threw 3 interceptions. He didn't look good, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Herbert did. Baker Mayfield did. CJ Stroud didn't. 2 out of the 4 look good. The other 2 look like they're going to have very long seasons, Speedy.
Yes, indeed, because we knew the Raiders' talent deficiency was always going to be a big problem. I didn't think the offensive line going into the season was going to consider one of their really bad deficiencies, though. It wasn't like it was a great offensive line, but they have some good players. Jackson Powers-Johnson, who was one of the better center prospects out of his draft. You have Colton Miller, solid tackle. Dylan Parham, a gem that John Gruden found, I think, like the 6th or 7th round. They have talent on this offensive line, so it's really surprising how Ginty has really struggled to start the year just because the Raiders' offensive line, especially blocking on the interior, just has not been good enough, and we knew they didn't have outside weapons outside of Brock Bowers, so Geno Smith tried to force the ball deep downfield like he tries to do. It's not really an ideal strategy when you don't have a real deep threat at the wide receiver position on this team. And their defense has held their own, but they can only hold their own to an extent.
Oh, you don't like Jacoby Myers?
He's a slot guy. He's fine.
I mean, he thinks he could be a number 1 guy.
He's not a deep threat, though.
He says he's a number 1 guy.
Yeah.
And he should be paid like a number 1 guy.
He's not a deep threat. He's a traditional slot type that's decent. He gets short catches, get good route runner, but not a guy that you would want to force the ball down the field. And Geno Smith just does the opposite of that. As far as the Chargers, you're seeing on Justin Herbert's end, because there's a lot of people that have been surprisingly critical of him he struggles in the 4th quarter. Oh, he doesn't win a playoff game. Oh, he makes some bad decision making. He's been, statistically speaking, a top 5 quarterback since he's come into the league. And now he's finally showing it to all the casual fans, I guess you would call it, that have been blaming him for a lot of the Chargers' issues over the years when they had a really bad defense. They had one of the worst coaches of recent memory in Brandon Staley that did not know what he was doing play calling wise. And a roster that was very old at one point that's now gotten young because of Jim Harbaugh and the way they drafted last year. It was a defensive transformation that was overnight. The Texans, I'm really worried on their offensive line.
I think Jim Harbaugh is the only coach, I believe, that has taken over a team, can take over any NFL team right now and transform this team inside. I don't think there's any coach in the NFL that could do what Jim Harbaugh has done, what he did with San Francisco, and what he has done with the Chargers.
Like a championship winning team, or just like a winning team?
I mean, think about it. Yeah, I think the Chargers are a borderline championship team right now, even without Slater. They can absolutely come out of the AFC. Absolutely. If Justin Herbert stays healthy and they can protect him and all keeps playing the way he is, and they play dominantly at the line of scrimmage, why couldn't they? They have one of the best secondaries in football right now. You can't argue that. They have the best free safety in football. The best. I don't even think you could argue that now after what he has done in week 1 and week 2.
This is also a defense, too, that, remember, in 2023 was the historically worst pass defense we've ever seen in NFL history. They obviously lost a lot of those players because they struggled that year. And Jim Harbaugh brought them a lot of these younger guys in, trusted those younger guys on the defense, and they were a top 10 defense in a lot of categories last year and are still playing like it this year. That's the only reason I wasn't as sure on them this year, because I thought, okay, maybe they're a regression candidate. They haven't regressed at all. They've still played really well. Transitioning out of the Texans, you recapped everything with the offensive line and why it's going to be a big problem for them, because
it's amazing how one guy can change everything.
One guy in Tunsil that, again, he's been a good player through his career, but he's also been injury prone, and the Texans never had these kind of issues.
He's a Pro Bowl player. He's not just an okay player. He's a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah. And you're seeing now, between that and the lack of an inside run game, that the Texans are going to have a lot of problems with those two elements of their game, because we knew they had to do a little bit different things with all the receiver injuries that they have. And they can't even get anything of the sort going when you try to just bring in 2 running backs. They thought, okay, we're right there. Usually teams bring in veteran running backs when they're like, think of it as the missing piece type thing. They try to have that final philosophy. They're still far from there. And maybe they're just showing that maybe they're just been a product of a weak division over the years and not as big of a Super Bowl contender as it is. And then there's Tampa. You mentioned Tampa. I had them in the NFC Championship game at the start of the year, and a lot of it was how good their offensive potency can be, even without Godwin there. Ibuka is showing how good he is. That offensive line, you want to talk about how bad they were Brady's last year? They've transformed into one of the best units in the league, probably a top 10 offensive line in the league. And
you could argue that probably have a top 3 offensive tackle in football.
Oh, easily. And then they have 2 really good young interior
Who would have
guys,
thought that Wirth would have been, and I'm just saying this, out of that class, and Thomas was in that class, I mean, Mekhi Becton was in that class. Everybody was like, this is going to be one of the best offensive line classes we've seen. And that was during COVID. I remember it. that was the first year of COVID. That was the first draft where they were sitting at home and they were doing the draft. It was like something of a video game that we watched on television. And everybody was like, well, Wirf's good, but, it might be too small for a tackle. There was a lot of questions about him. Can he stay healthy? The guy's been the best and probably the most healthy out of all the tackles in that class.
Yeah, I remember I was bashing the Browns for not taking him at 10 because I liked Thomas too at the time. Obviously, that I was.
Neal was in that draft. Cross was in that draft. That was a good draft when it came to offensive tackles.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at Andrew Thomas. I liked him at the time, but obviously Wirfs was the best pass blocking guy. He's definitely has been showing his whole career. And you're seeing now how it's really elevated everyone else. And he's another one that had to move to left tackle too, because he was a right tackle most of his career.
Dude, he punches people in the throat. When you watch that guy, he is mean. He is a mean man. And I heard Baker Mayfield, I watched some documentary with Baker Mayfield where he dressed up like I forget what he called himself, and he tricked Wirf and everything. He looks like a teddy bear. The guy looks like the nicest guy, but when he plays football, you can hear him on the football field. You watch the game and you put it loud, you can hear him on the outside just talking crap, whoever's standing in front of him, and he's beating the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm. And you're seeing now also too, like you talk about the leadership with Baker Mayfield that was kind of questioned at different points in his career, being obviously being cocky kind of in college, and everyone was worried, oh, is he going to be working as an NFL?
He's not cocky, he's confident.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they all rallied around that because after Brady retired, like we were thinking of this as probably like a 5 or 6 win team. They had good players, but they still needed to transition. Like I said, a lot of key positions, offensive line, their secondary was still kind of questionable. And how good of a head coach would Todd Bowles actually be in his second stint now after what he was saying? Now, there are still some questions of him, like I said, with the clock management, and sometimes can get too conservative at points, but is still a really good team culture guy. And even with this defense, a very young defense has transformed them. I think this is definitely a Super Bowl contender. I would put them right there with the Rams and with the Eagles. Rams and Bucks was my NFC Championship game pick at the start of the year, and they play well against the Eagles too.
It all depends on Justin Herbert. If he could stay healthy, that's what worries me. He reminds me of Joe Burrow, and this guy has all the tools to be elite of the elite. I think Justin Herbert could win the MVP this year. That's how good.
Joe Burrow would sell his soul to have Joe Alt block for him. That team has the absolute worst offensive line in the NFL, and it's embarrassment. And
he'd take half of Joe Alt.
Half of Joe Alt. Cut him up, put one half on the left side, one half on the right side.
Exactly.
Better than what they got right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's that bad. And it's so curious because we said in the offseason how dumb it was to pay both Higgins and Chase, because then you can't put other guys around on the lineup. Well, the Raiders did something almost as dumb. They got a good pass blocking offensive line, and drafted a running back at 6, and they can't open holes for him. You know that he's the Raiders are the only team that average negative yards before contact in the league. So he gets hit behind the line of scrimmage every play on average. No other team is that bad in run blocking in the offense. And how are you supposed to be good? We saw Saquon have to do that same crap with the Giants for years. Even Saquon could barely eke out 1,000 yards doing that. Gentry's not going to be able to do it if they can't run block. They're an embarrassment run blocking, only to be surpassed by the embarrassment of the Texans that we saw, which can't do anything. They literally can't do anything. And it's the scariest part about the Texans is they lost their tackle, and it's only week 2 and they have no depth. At least the Giants, I know they suck, and their tackle is coming back, but at least I know they have depth. This is scary for CJ Stroud. I'd be surprised if he makes it through the season upright. It's going to be real tough for him to stay healthy.
Maybe we should trade.
I might make up an excuse or an injury or something if I'm CJ with what he's doing.
Those are tough games to play. He's doing a lot.
I feel bad for CJ Stroud because CJ Stroud in the last 2 years, even last year in his sophomore year, he had a decent year. He wasn't bad. He was pretty good, especially in the second half. He really helped his team out with some of the deficiencies they had, but they still had Tunsil there, and their offensive line was much better than they look right now in the first 2 games. You look at their team right now. They don't have Mixon this year. Mixon might not be back for the rest of the year. You're going to bet on Chubb, who just had an absolutely disgusting injury last year. We saw that leg just bent right back. I mean, it was hanging on a limb. It was disgusting.
Tore everything.
It looked like Paul George's leg. Remember that for Team USA when his leg went wrapped around. It was disgusting. And the fact that Chubb is playing NFL football right now says a lot about him and his personality and why he wants to show people he can still play at an elite pace. But right now, I look at all four of these teams, the two teams that I believe that can, and both these, I could argue that this could be the Super Bowl. Why couldn't the Buccaneers play the Chargers? I mean, they can't be. Yeah, they could play in the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers and the Chargers could play in the Super Bowl against one another. Baker Mayfield against Justin Herbert. 2 number 1 picks. Justin Herbert wasn't the number 1. Kyler Murray was.
Yeah. He went like 5 or 6.
That's right.
Herbert.
I didn't understand that either. Justin Herbert. And by the way, I remember the Giants were trying desperately to move up to get Justin Herbert. Remember that? They were trying desperately to do that. And they decided to go Daniel Jones. And I don't think the Giants were wrong. We don't know what Daniel Jones is because the Giants didn't really help him. They didn't put him in a – if Justin Herbert was on those Giant teams, he fails. He fails. He probably is moved. They probably let him go and let him go to the Indianapolis Colts and succeed over there, just like they did with Dan. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Justin Herbert. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is Daniel Jones has proven he's a competent quarterback. And what we've seen with Justin Herbert when he stays healthy is the man can throw it. And the man can step outside of the pocket, use his legs like he did for Oregon when he was over there. And everybody said was sucked for the duck. Remember that? Where he was going to be the number 1 pick. And then he decided to go back one more year back to college. And he fell out of everybody's good gracious because everybody thought Kyler Murray and, the offensive coordinator right now for the Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury, thought, hey, you know what? I coached this guy. I want him instead of Justin Herbert. Could you imagine? Think about it this way. If Justin Herbert was the guy to be picked by Arizona and Kyler Murray was the guy to get drafted by the Chargers, does Jim Harbaugh take that job? Think about it. Does Jim Harbaugh take that Charger job? Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Jim Harbaugh knew what he was doing when he decided to interview and take that. Because he interviewed the year before for Miami. Remember that?
And the Raiders.
And he didn't want any of those jobs. He wanted nothing to do with those jobs. But as soon as that Charger job became open, he knew what he was doing. He knew that Justin Herbert was the guy that he wanted to coach. But that's my question for you guys. If Kyler Murray was the starting quarterback for the LA Chargers, does Jim Harbaugh take that job?
I don't think so. I think Kyler Murray is the one that obviously wanted Kingsbury, and he was kind of egotistical about it at the time, even too. Like, Cliff Kingsbury wasn't going to take any other NFL jobs, I think, at the time, besides Arizona. And I think Kyler Murray had some leeway to it. So who says that wouldn't have been the same thing with Harbaugh, who's kind of the opposite coach of Kingsbury?
Must be the khakis. I personally, every time I coach a game, I go full Harbaugh every time. We got to tuck it in, got the khakis going. You got to have the sneakers on.
His wife makes fun of him. His wife
That's
makes
fine.
fun.
He wins. Keep doing it. That guy's a winner. It works. It must be the khakis.
I'm going to tell you this too. If Harbaugh was still with San Francisco, they win a Super Bowl. If he went to those Super Bowls against Kansas City, he would have found a way the second Super Bowl to knock off the Andy Reid Kansas City Chiefs. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. There's no way Jim Harbaugh loses back-to-back times against Kansas City. I can't see that. Jim Harbaugh's too smart of a coach. He understands how to read coaches and read players and defenses where he would have figured out. Remember, this guy was a quarterback. He was a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. You see these coaches, they're quarterbacks, they played as a backup quarterback and they weren't any good. Think about it. Kellen Moore, he was an NFL quarterback. He wasn't good. If you go up and down the NFL teams that have ex-quarterbacks that are coaching now in the NFL, they were not good. Jim Harbaugh was a good quarterback. I remember him with Indianapolis Colts. He was very good. He was a good quarterback. Just had a big mouth and didn't know when to shut it. He was the Aaron Rodgers of his time. That's what he was. He was a guy that didn't have a muzzle. He liked to open up his mouth. He liked to throw people under the bus, including teammates. Remember John Kitna? Yes. He played with him. He threw John Kitna under the bus. I remember that. John
Kitna prayed before every single play. I think
That's not what I'm saying.
John
That's not what I'm
Kitna
saying.
rubbed a lot of people the wrong
But
way his
he
entire
threw
career.
him under. John Kitna is harmless. I mean, think about it. Look at that guy.
He was one of the
Besides
most annoying guys in the NFL.
He had the biggest calves for a quarterback, by the way.
That might be true. I remember that. He could kind of throw flat-footed because he was just like
Dude,
Capzilla.
he had some of the biggest calves I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen offensive linemen and defense. This guy, as a quarterback, had a set of calves on this man. I mean, it looked like an offensive or defensive lineman with the calves that this guy had. It was crazy.
I think we learned something in this game that we haven't really, no one's covering, and it's that Jesse Minter is going to be a head coach in this league next year.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive coordinator for the Chargers, Harbaugh, brought him with him from Michigan. People mentioned him as a possible candidate, but again, young guy. Is he even 40 yet? I don't think he's a man and he's 40
and
yet.
I think there were a lot of teams that might have taken him on as a college coach if it wasn't for the sanctions.
And he seems to be excellent. To turn that defense around, some of it's scheme, but a lot of it is coaching guys up and teaching them how to play the right way. There's so many guys that are talented when they get to this level, but not all of them get great coaching. I have a feeling that Harbaugh picked this guy for a reason to be his defensive coordinator and won't let him go until he eventually gets a job that's equal to him. And that's what I think's happening. I would be shocked if he's not a head coach in the league next year.
With just under 2 weeks remaining in the MLB regular season, several American League and National League playoff races are coming down to the wire. The Mariners are on fire with a 10-game winning streak, taking over the lead of the American League West on the Astros by a half a game. They will face off this weekend in a 3-game series that could both decide the West or maybe allow a wild card contender to back into the race. The AL Central is nearly decided with the Detroit Tigers having a 5.5 game lead on the Cleveland Guardians and 10 games up on the Royals. The Guardians have gotten themselves into the thick of things in the wild card race. And after mid-season struggles trail the Boston Red Sox by 2.5 games for the last playoff spot in the American League. The American League East is also virtually over with the Blue Jays on a 6-game winning streak, pulling them 5 games ahead of the Yankees, who have the top wild card slot by a game over the Astros and 2 games over the Red Sox. The only other contender for the wild card are the Guardians and the Texas Rangers, who sit 3.5 games back from Boston and a game behind the Guardians for the last spot. In the National League, the Brewers became the first team to clinch a playoff spot as they have their division mates, the Chicago Cubs, who control the top wildcard slot in the National League. The Phillies became the first team to clinch their division already, with the Mets falling back to the pack, going 2 of 8 in their last 10 games, and are now only 1.5 games ahead of the Diamondbacks for the last playoff spot in the National League after being tight with the Phillies for a long stretch of the season. The Dodgers lead the National League West by 2 games over the Padres, and both teams have 11 games remaining. The Padres hold the second wild card spot and are 4.5 games up on the Mets. Still in the hunt are the Diamondbacks, 1.5 games out. The Reds are 2 games out, and the Giants are 3 games out. I want to go with the National League first, because the National League is more interesting than the American League. I mean, there's nothing interesting about the American League. I don't think the Guardians are sneaking in. I am not surprised Seattle has taken advantage of the last 12, 13 games of the last 2 weeks. I think Seattle has the pitching. Seattle has the bullpen. And they got one of the best hitters and one of the hottest hitters in baseball. So, and is probably going to win the American League MVP. I don't think you can argue that now, as good as Aaron Judge has been throughout the season. But the National League is interesting because I don't know who's going to win the National League. No matter who gets in, I think all these teams are even keel. I mean, if the Mets get in, are you going to think you're going to just run right through the Mets? The Mets have a lineup that has Lindor, Soto, Pete Alonso, Vientos. I mean, Vientos was the hottest hitter in the National League, and Soto was the hottest hitter in the American League last season. Vientos got hot in the second half and finally started to hit, and Soto is one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Are you going to just run all over the Mets if they sneak into the playoffs? I don't think so. Even with the young pitching they have with McClain as their number one guy. Senga is not going to probably be called up, and if he does, he's going to be in the bullpen. The Chicago Cubs are interesting. And the reason why I think the Chicago Cubs are interesting is because I think they have a lot of depth in their lineup. They have one of the best outfields in all of baseball. They have a good pitching squad, and their bullpen has been sensational in the second half of the season. They've been outlasted by a Brewers team that has just been so very hot since the All-Star break. I mean, they've been the hottest team in baseball. If you look at their record, could you remember a team that has the record the Brewers had since the All-Star break? Could you remember a team that has a record this good? I can't remember. The Brewers are dangerous, but am I going to trust the Brewers even if they're the number one seed in the National League? Am I going to trust them after what I've seen over the years choking? No matter how talented they are, they're not going to have to play in the wild card game like they did last year. And you know what happened to them with the Mets. Pete Alonso hit a 3-run home run in the 8th inning, and so long to the Brewers. And Devin Williams is now a New York Yankee and choking, as we talk about all the time. Phillies, I expect the Phillies to be the most dangerous team in the National League. And the reason why is I think they have everything to win. Now, they lost Zach Wheeler for the season. That's going to hurt them. They lost their number one guy. He is as good as any pitcher, and he's been as good as any pitcher in the last 3 years of baseball. But I still think they have enough depth. They added some good arms at the trade deadline. I think they have a very good bullpen, and their lineup is ridiculous. This could be the best lineup in all of baseball, depth-wise, and I love Thompson, Yankee guy. I think he's one of the more underrated managers in all of baseball. The Dodgers, they're the most dangerous. And the reason why is they're deferred. And what I mean by that is when the season is almost over, you're not talking about what Shohei Ohtani almost pitched a no-hitter yesterday. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about a team that has a tremendous amount of depth. Now, their pitching staff has not stayed healthy, but they're getting healthier. This is a good bullpen. This team has all the layers to win another championship this year. The Padres, not so much. I don't know what it is with the Padres. I'm not betting on the Padres. I'm not. Because every time I bet on the Padres, I lose. So I'm not a betting man, and my money is not towards the Padres. I think the Padres have a great lineup. I really do. I think they're really good. And losing King, is he out for the season now?
No, he actually pitched yesterday against the Mets.
I didn't even know he came back.
He pitched yesterday against the Mets, 5 runs in the first inning.
All right, so he came back. I didn't even know he came back. If King's not at full strength, do they really have a number one? Do they really? I mean, the Padres got a tremendous amount of depth, and their pitching squad they have a good pitching staff, but do they have a bona fide number one? And that's the problem, because you know teams always play out. They always have an ace. The Yankees have an ace. They have Max Fried. The Mets have an ace. Well, we think they have an ace, a young guy in McClain. I mean, the Phillies have 2 aces, even without Wheeler.
They might have 3. They had 2 All-Stars. So.
Yeah. I mean, all these teams, Ohtani, I mean, we know that the Dodgers have an ace. All these teams have aces. But the Padres don't. So I'm not betting on the Padres. And as far as the Reds are concerned, I want to see the Reds make the playoffs, because I know Goody's going to be jumping and tell me, I told you Terry's the best manager in baseball. I can't wait until he comes in, and he will be in hopefully a little bit later.
That's going to be a rough show. I have to witness Goody celebrating the Reds steal the Mets playoffs.
I think he should be cheering for the Guardians. You want to hope that they get in. So maybe he's doing a broadcast with the Guardians, because he's been doing such a great job with the Guardians all season long. And the Giants aren't making the playoffs either. I can't see the Giants winning. They got to win like probably 8 of their next 11 games to even sneak into the play. I don't see it.
And I think they play 3 against the Dodgers next.
The Diamondbacks are interesting because if the Diamondbacks sneak in with the young players that they have, and by the way, this might be the best young outfield in baseball. That's how good they are. They're dangerous because we've seen what they've done. They've been to a World Series. They lost against the Texas Rangers. So in the National League, to me, Speedy, that's the way I look at what is going on in the National League.
Yeah, that's the reason why is you're seeing a lot of these young, confident teams get going in the second half of the season amidst the struggles that the Mets have had. And now you're seeing 3 teams be right there. It was really just the Reds for a while. Like the Reds were the team, all right, right near the Mets. They were kind of playing pretty steady a lot of the year. Then they had a little bit of a slump. Now that the Mets are slumping, they've gotten back into it. The Diamondbacks sold at the trade deadline and have gotten it going now. And I remember last year, I called them very unlucky. Probably besides the Braves, they had the next worst injury luck last season. And the Mets were able to sneak in over them last year, just getting into the playoffs. But they always had really good talent. They didn't trade a lot away, but they still sold enough where it seemed like they were giving up on it. The Giants, I agree with you. They had their chance when they traded for Devers to get going. They slumped really badly once Devers got there. Not his fault necessarily, but their offense never really gotten it going. Now they finally are. So, yeah, I think if there's any team that would steal a spot, it would probably be the Diamondbacks as well. And I agree with you. They would be a tough out if they do get in. The Cubs pitching, I don't necessarily trust in a longer series. I think maybe they could win the first round with the Padres. They're both kind of top-heavy teams.
I'm taking the Cubs over the Padres.
Yeah, their pitching has actually held up surprisingly well. I was worried they didn't do enough at the deadline, but they've held up surprisingly well. The Dodgers and the Phillies are definitely the 2 best teams. Milwaukee, I know, looks good on paper. I still have questions with their offense, though, too. But you're right. It's interesting to think of.
The last team that reminds me of the Brewers that have won a World Series was the Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
Jabba's Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
That's what this
I remember those well.
Because they play small ball. The Brewers play small ball. That's what they do. They play small.
Yeah, they didn't have the bullpen we had, though.
No. Well, we all know that.
No, but they still have a good one. Like probably the most comparable bullpen wise to the Royals of your time is probably the Padres. But do they have enough starting? Because their starting pitching is all coming back from injuries. Like Fish is saying in the private, Dylan Cease has not been great this year. And Darvish just came back. Michael King just came back. So like, you're trusting a lot of these older guys in that kind of roles. I agree with Errol. I think the Phillies, they were my pick at the start of the year. I think they are definitely the most dangerous because I know everyone says, oh, the Phillies bullpen is a question mark. How many good bullpens are there among the playoff teams right now? It's really only the Padres, the Mariners, and maybe the
honestly,
Red Sox.
I think they have the National League MVP in Kyle Schwarber. I think he's been. Yeah. I think he's the National League MVP. He's been so good as Juan Soto has been. Kyle Schwarber has been the most important player on his Philadelphia Phillies team. And by the way, a Philadelphia Phillies team that's in first place in the National League East to the Mets, who are right now
free falling,
trying to crawl into the playoffs. If you were to ask me who the MVP of the National League is, it's Kyle Schwarber. He has been unbelievable. Unbelievable this year.
Yeah, 53 home runs for a bulkier guy. I mean, it's not a Cal Raleigh like because he's not playing the catcher, but he has a catcher's body. Like playing.
Well, hold on one second. Kyle Schwarber has done this before. I mean, not 53 home runs, but he has been an all-around power hitter. I remember him with the Cubs. Yeah. The Cubs are probably shaking their heads why they let him go, but I remember when he was a catcher for the Cubs and they moved him to the outfield.
Yeah, and that ruined it because Joe Madden put him there and then he got hurt. He had that bad injury and he came back during the World Series and then ended up being
tried to play through it and locked up.
I think Kyle Schwarber is by far the best player in the National League this year, and he has the reason why the Phillies are probably the most dangerous team in baseball, especially in the National League, is because of him. Because you could put him anywhere in that lineup. You could bat him first, second, third, fourth, fifth. The guy he can hit lefties, he can hit righties. Go look at his numbers. It's unbelievable what this guy has transformed is the way he hits on the Philadelphia Phillies. He is the best player in the National League. He is the bona fide MVP for the National League.
My last comment before you go, Jabba, I just want to say Kyle Schwarber, probably for a left-handed hitter too, has been one of the best playoff players we've seen in recent years too, with many different teams. He was great with Boston. They almost made it to the World Series. He was amazing with the Cubs. And think about all the pressure with the Cubs trying to break the curse of the Billy Goat.
Yeah, no, I mean, Philly's got the division. The Cubs clinched a playoff spot today. Cubs will be interesting to see what Kyle Tucker comes back. Obviously, Palencia has had a crazy year. The dude's arm is great, but he's going to come back late. He got banged up. Padres, just the starting pitching is crazy because you had guys that know you can do it, but coming off injuries. back end. I mean, offensively, they can score. They can do some things that way. The Brewers, it's just they get there and then that's about it. There's not enough guys on that team that know how to win for me personally. They're obviously with the depth of the pitching and how they've, been able to produce the pitching that they have. I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do with Miz and, if they're going to run him out there and do, what he said. I disagree on the bona fide, obviously, and you know who I'm going to say. Like he goes and throws 5 no-hit innings and then hits his 50th homer. There's no bona fide in what Kyle Schwarber's doing. He's DHing. That's it. So that the bona fide is not even in that vocabulary when you got a guy going that literally tried to talk himself into staying in the game and then the dude gives up a hit the next inning. So bona fide is not even in the question. It'll be a good race. Is Kyle deserving of some really good accolades? 100%. But 5 no-hit innings, then go hit your 50th homer.
Vegas has Schwarber winning. Vegas has Schwarber.
Oh no, at the same time, like, should Aaron Judge lose the home run derby or the home run derby, the MVP?
No.
He's having they're going to do everything they can to give to Cal Raleigh. I just don't get. I understand the catcher aspect of it, but it's acting like the dude's curing cancer. He's just a catcher that's a really good hitter. And if you look at him historically and numbers wise, and Speedy, you as the alphabet guy and analytical dude, he's not even in the top. He's not even in the top 10 of a switch hitting like season.
Yeah, I think there was some down advanced stats in the last 2 months of the season for him besides the home runs. So maybe it's
a home run, and obviously the first the top 15, Mickey Mantle's like 11 of them, Chipper's in there. You got Ken Singleton in the top 20. Like it's Mickey Mantle and like a couple other
everybody
people.
Else. Everybody else.
Yeah. And so what he's doing is crazy. And then obviously the Mariners record is Griffey all over the board. And, obviously now with Cal doing what he's doing. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what, those come down to. I think the races should be fun. It's with this little that there has to be something crazy that happens, and we've seen it before where it happens. And you've got a lot of these teams too where some of the most dangerous teams to play right now are the spoilers, because it's like we got nothing to play for. Like, let's go ruin somebody's season. Like we've seen it. The Orioles did it to the Red Sox. Like we've seen that before. And so there's been plenty of times where it happens, and there's a bunch of injuries. There's literally like, you don't know if they're going to come back or how they're going to hold up. What are you going to do? We saw Ohtani said he's not adverse to them, playing him in the outfield. How do you balance that? Do you take the chance and risk it? I don't know. So yeah, this is a fun time. Yeah. And everybody's kind of the things that, I've read and saw is it's kind of like, you don't take that chance. I mean, I wouldn't. There's no way you can bring him out of the bullpen, obviously. So that'll be interesting, but I think it's shaping up to be kind of what we thought it was going to be. There might be the Mets may do something crazy. I mean, who knows? But there's striking distance with some of those teams that could make some moves. Which, Speedy, you said it too. It's like the Diamondbacks were like, all right, we're out of it. Like, let's just yard sale the entire. Well, you didn't yard sale enough, because now it's like, hey, we just played ourselves into a chance.
Well, they were trying to buy high with a lot of those pitchers. They did. Besides, they didn't get the offers they wanted. So why not keep them at that point?
Yeah, and I mean, with the Padres, you had Nick Pivetta obviously step up. He signed that 4-year deal with the Padres, and now it's you get a little dead presidents in your pocket and some comfort level. It allows you to pitch, a little bit different and with some comfort. And we're seeing that. And he's always been a grinder, even with the Red Sox and stuff like that. So this is going to be a fun time of the year, because there's going to be somebody that, drops the ball, no pun intended. And we got somebody that sneaks in. So it's going to be
I also think that I know a lot of people are probably wondering why I didn't really attack the American League, because I already know what's going to happen in the American League. The Blue Jays are going to win the American League East. I'm not betting on the Blue Jays. I'm not. As good as the Blue Jays have been really throughout the season, I still think they're not the best team in the American League. I still think the Yankees are the better team, but I've been very impressed with the Red Sox and their bullpen and what they've provided. And if the Yankees do wind up getting the number 1 seed in the wild card, they're matched up against the Red Sox. So the Yankees are going to have to go through the Red Sox to move on. And that's not easy. That's not going to be an easy argument as a Yankee fan to see the Red Sox and the Yankees play and say, oh, the Yankees are the bona fide team to knock off the Red Sox. I don't know if that's true. The Red Sox are young, they're hungry, and they know that the Yankees are not a playoff hitting team. They have not been that way really a long time, since 2009, honestly. They can't hit in the playoffs. The fact that the Yankees made the World Series last year, I thought it had a lot to do with the Yankees pitching and timely hitting by Giancarlo Stanton and Juan Soto. That's and Gleyber Torres too in certain parts of the game. But they didn't have enough to really get there. The American League was just so weak. The Guardians were the team that matched up against the Yankees in the American League championship. I don't think the Guardians aren't going to make the playoffs this year. So
I mean, but that's a crazy that they're always in the conversation though, because obviously, and this is my opinion, this is opinions of a lot of people, they have the most underrated player in baseball, hands down, not even a question, in Rammer and Jose Ramirez. But they're always in the question. They're always grinders. I think Stephen Vogt is the right guy for that team, for what he can do. Oh, great minds think alike, Fish. Oh boy. And it works because that, he allows them to be them. And, they're not out of it. Like, it was funny that you brought it up saying that Goody cheering for the Reds because he said it. But I was like, dude, wouldn't you want to cheer for the Guardians now that you've covered them for this year?
That show will be so rough if the Reds get in the playoffs and the Mets pull off a historic collapse.
Oh, yeah. Because he'll be like, yeah, I told you so. And Tito obviously is that guy too. But, yeah, they're always in the conversation. I'm interested to see who they send to the pen. If it plays out, if it ended today, do you send Will Warren or Cam? Obviously you're going to run 1 and 2 out there, and Max and Rodon. So, yeah, I think the AL kind of is going to play itself into what it is. Red Sox, it could get interesting. Some of those guys that are coming in and they have the experience, the Bregmans of the world that come in, and so then you got the Astros, and who knows what the Astros have up their sleeve, as people would like to say.
Well, they're getting a lot of their offense back. That's the biggest key with them.
Yeah.
I actually was looking at the standings. Their offense, like in the league wise, is very average. Like, just looking at now, getting Alvarez back, you think, hopefully, and you provide.
No, he's done.
He's already done. No, they did announce it. Okay.
Yeah, they said significant, and he's
okay. Yeah.
So and he came back. Did you see his numbers when he came back?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I thought at least if he did have that another setback like that, it would be really lethal for what that could do to that. But now you're seeing it with Seattle now climbing into that. Now
Seattle's not the dangerous team in the American League. The dangerous team is the Tigers. The Tigers are young. To me, they've got all the power in the world in that lineup. They can hit for average. I think they're as dangerous as any team in the American League because they have nothing to lose. Now, obviously, that story that came out, that definitely gives a little bit of a brush fire for the organization. But this could completely hover over what we heard over the last week on what happened with the Detroit Tigers over the last couple of years. If Detroit somehow sneaks into the World Series and wins a World Series this year, nobody's going to be talking about that. No matter how big of a story that became, and maybe there's more behind it, if Detroit wins a World Series or goes to the World Series and challenges whoever they match up against, nobody's going to be talking about it. It'll be like, this team is the team.
Who's going to match up against their ace, though?
That's the problem. And that's why I think they're dangerous. I don't know. Max Fried? I mean, and I don't know if that –
Phillies probably have the best shot.
I don't know.
Left-handed hitters.
I'm not talking about the National League. We're talking about the American League, Speedy. We're talking about who's coming out of the American League. And right now, if you look at all the teams that are going to be fighting to get out of the American League, the two teams that really – if the Yankees somehow get through the Red Sox, if they match up against the Red Sox, I think the Yankees go to the American League Championship. Because if they match up against Seattle or they're matched up against the Astros, I think they're better than both of those teams. I do. I think they're both better than both of them. So I think that in my opinion, it would be the Yankees and the Tigers in the American League Championship. And it would be Max Fried versus, the name that I can never pronounce. So I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to bother. So, but the fact is, right now, Tarek, by the way, I got it. There it is. All right. Am I right?
His last name. We get the first one.
No, I'm not doing that. Anyways, but the American League is really rests on the Yankees getting through out of the wild card spot with the Red Sox if they matched up against them. I'm worried about the Red Sox because they got nothing to lose. They got all these young guys. They want to run right through the Yankees. You've heard some of the young guys that have never been in these playoff games against the New York Yankees telling that this is what I always wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be a part of this banter about who's better, the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox. So that's fun. That's going to be fun, but it's scary as a Yankee fan. You don't want to see that as a Yankee fan. Could you imagine this young Red Sox team go right through the New York Yankees in 3 games? And to me, that's scary. And I think it could happen because I don't trust if Aaron Judge has to show up in the playoffs. He's got to show up and he's got to hit, which he hasn't done.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too, and you've got obviously no playoff Stanton, but what Soto did, and whether you like him or not, I don't really care. That's neither here nor there. But you're gonna have to have somebody like that, and that's the part that we don't really know if there's anybody on the Yankee lineup that really could have that effect that Soto has. Obviously, Stanton. Stan could go 5 for 6 with 2 homers, a double. He could also punch out 6 times in a row.
Bellinger's pretty good in the playoffs too.
That's the only one that was where I was going. Is like that's about, and hell, who knows? Nobody even thought Trent Grisham was gonna play as much as he had. I mean, coming into spring training, it was like, hey, he's gonna play. He was a throw-in, Dan. I mean, literally, like, hey, throw this guy in. Like, oh, we don't want him. He's got 32 homers, and so that could happen. Belly's obviously been there before. He gets it. I'm interested to see if they rush Roman Anthony back for the Red Sox, what they're going to do with him as far as because obliques suck. If that's really depending on where it is, maybe if he wasn't so shredded because you can't pull fat. One of the greatest quotes, I think it was by John Kruk, I think.
You sure wasn't Noah Syndergaard because he's had these oblique problems and I pretty much
because he's shredded. Like you can't. I mean, the dude literally, and it's crazy when I actually did it. Don't know how I did, but I did.
Were you pulling on the?
But back? Yeah, so yeah, there was. I mean, I still got like two abs. That's about it. But so I don't rush.
I got to put you on a regimen. I could get you cut up. I could definitely get you cut up.
Good.
What?
What? I'm happy with right where I'm at.
You don't trust me?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't. No.
Why? I went to school for that, by the way. I went to school for training. I'm actually.
Yeah. I can read a book too.
It's not about a book. It's the way you train yourself. It's the way you put yourself.
I know this. I was a professional athlete. I get it.
All right, but what? So you don't think I could get you cut up? I know I could get you cut up. 100%. You give me 3 months, you'd be cut up. 3 months.
Do it myself.
All right.
But what do I want to be cut up for?
I don't know.
Anyways, but back to the injuries.
Never going raw.
So
yeah. Well, I'd be eating a lot of raw stuff. I know that.
That went over like a fart in church.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't see them rushing Roman Anthony back to get it. And there's a lot of young dudes in that lineup. But yeah, I just wanted to get to the playoffs because there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens. And then going into the playoffs, yes, we're going to have the same kind of band of teams that we've had. Hopefully, maybe there's some mix-ups in there and some upsets and guys go further. But yeah, there's going to be injuries that play a part. There's going to be people that diarrhea down their leg and lose a chance to get in the playoffs. So,
what? Diarrhea down the leg? What was that? What does that mean?
Yeah. I was just talking about the Mets.
Oh, what the hell is that?
You've never diarrhea down your leg?
No.
With the way they're playing, they might have to adopt that as a superstition to turn their season around.
By the way, Grisham just went deep again with a 3-run homer.
Maybe you should ask him to. Maybe you should ask him to train you.
By the way, look at Trent Grisham. The dude's not cut up. I can guarantee you that.
2022.
He does have a great mustache, though.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't like it.
I mean, that lip lettuce is fierce.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, my deuce of the day.
The deuce of the day.
You log. Not a log. I don't have a log, but I mean, you know.
That sounded like diarrhea down the leg.
I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, my deuce of the day goes to Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith last night yesterday was talking about one of his employees. And I mean employees because she was one of his employees. And he was speaking high over I think her name is Molly Karim. Karim. I don't watch the show, so I don't know much about her, but she was working with him for over 10 years and spoke very, very highly of her, but nobody knows why she resigned. Nobody knows why she resigned. And then over the last 24 hours, a story came out, which is bananas. And everybody knows that Stephen A. Smith just got a $100 million contract from ESPN. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got news for you. Stephen A. Smith just got a second contract from Sirius XM Radio. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he just got a 3-year, $36 million add-on. Yes, $36 million add-on to his $100 million contract with ESPN to join Mad Dog Radio, which averages him now to make $40 million a year for the next 3 years. You know what that smells like? It smells like doggy doo-doo. That's what it smells like. I cannot believe Sirius XM Radio is now paying him for 3 hours a day. What is this guy doing? Now, he doesn't write his own scripts. He doesn't do anything. He talks about football like he knows football, barely knows hockey, thinks he knows mixed martial arts, combat sports. This guy's all over the place, and I mean all over the place. I'd rather take a dump than listen to Stephen A. Smith. I cannot believe Sirius XM Radio. And by the way, Stephen A. Smith is making more money on Mad Dog Radio than Mad Dog. How completely ridiculous does that sound for Sirius XM Radio? Absolute doo-doo. So my deuce of the day goes to Sirius XM Radio for allowing this mishmash garbage to be signed over there for 3 years, $12 million a year for $36 million for the next 3 years. So that's my deuce of the day. You can script it, you can sell it, you can flush it down the toilet. It's absolutely disgusting that this man is making $40 million a year. He is making more than, I would say, 70% of the athletes right now. 70% of the athletes. And he's just talking sports, which, by the way, he only knows one of them. He doesn't know anything else. You think I'm going to trust Stephen A. Smith with his takes on football? How about hockey? Remember the hockey season when he was on ESPN talking hockey?
Baseball is awful.
What are we doing here? What are these organizations doing here? I don't get it. And I'm not taking shots at Stephen A. Smith. I give him a lot of respect because his personality and my personality are not off from one another. But I just think that if you're going to go out there and make that kind of money, you should know what you're talking about. I just don't know if he does. And I don't get it. So that's my deuce of the day. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we have Fish's Play of the Week, Speedy's Six-Pack of the Week, and In Like Flynn. But first, our Sports Minute with the Fish.
3, 2, 1. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Sports Minute.
All right, guys, Aaron Fishman here with your Sports Minute. Got a couple of stories before we get into some scores this evening. Bears head coach Ben Johnson told reporters that he isn't worried about Tom Brady, who was calling an NFL game on Sunday and then sitting with a headset in the Raiders coaching box on Monday. He will be that he's going to be gaining an unfair advantage for the Raiders by gaining insight from Johnson in his role as color commentator for Fox's NFL coverage. I mean, we change week to week in terms of what we do. Schematically, he's going to be able to turn on the tape and see what everyone else in the world is seeing right now. Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer was sarcastic in his response, saying he was not even going to talk to Tom, and similarly brushed the issue under the rug. Johnson's Bears, however, might have a legitimate gripe, as Brady's Raiders will take on the Bears in Week 4. While many in the media are killing Brady for this, apparently coaches haven't been bothered by the all-time legend's extraordinary access while being an active owner for a franchise in the league. And Los Angeles Chargers edge rusher Khalil Mack, we mentioned earlier tonight, suffered a gruesome-looking elbow injury during Monday Night Football this week, but reports state that it is not a season-ending injury. Mack will be placed on injury reserve, but the Chargers and head coach Jim Harbaugh didn't go into detail on the injury itself, instead commenting, "He's like the Wolverine. One of the toughest things I've ever seen." Jim Harbaugh, folks. Mack, 34, signed a one-year, $18 million deal in March, returning to the Chargers instead of retiring, which he spent some time dwelling upon. Mack, probably the greatest athletic product out of my alma mater, the University at Buffalo, has 108.5 career sacks, is a 9-time Pro Bowler, he was a Defensive Player of the Year in 2016, and is a 4-time All-Pro player. While this isn't officially the end for Mack, he certainly has had a fringe Hall of Fame career, and his 108.5 sacks currently has him in 44th all-time in the category, just ahead of TJ Watt for the time being, and Mark Gastineau. In baseball going on right now, the Yankees have taken a 7-2 lead on the Twins behind 2 home runs by the big mustache himself, Trent Grisham. The Guardians have a 2-0 lead on the Tigers in the bottom of the 7th. It's bottom 6 in Boston. They trail the Athletics 4-3. Bottom 5 in Tampa. It's 1-1, the Rays and the Blue Jays. In the bottom of the 6th, the Mets are trailing the Padres 6-3 at Citi Field. It's 5-1 Brewers in the bottom of the 5th over the Angels. 3-2 Royals over the Mariners in top of the 5th. All tied at 2 in the top of the 3rd between the Astros and Rangers. And it's raining in Colorado, not yet underway between them and the Marlins. Dodgers and Phillies still to come later tonight. The Cubs earlier today defeated the Pirates 8-4. The Reds beat the Cardinals 6-2. Orioles over the White Sox 3-1. In 11 innings, the Giants win a huge game in the wild card race over the Diamondbacks 5-1. And the Braves defeated the Nationals 9-4. Guys, we are streaming live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, on our Jabba in the Mouth handle, on Facebook under the Worldwide Sports Radio Network handle, and on Twitter under our host handle at ErrolMarks34. Keep downloading on Apple Podcasts and watch us both there and on Spotify, now in video. Make sure to like and subscribe to all our shorts, reels, TikToks, and longer videos that you see from us throughout the week. Now back to Errol, Jabba, and Speedy for our next segment on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
My nipple card. The rah-rah another toe job. That went over like a fart shirt.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I am the one and only Errol Marks. My co-host, Joba. I'm just kidding. Jabba Chamberlain, the speedster. Executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman. On the board, Mr. Tommy Poops. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Nithin's in the back end. Hopefully he's doing something with himself. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an intern on the back end. Jared, our first week intern, Jared Bennett. He's joining us too. He might join us tonight as well as he did on Monday night. So very happy to have Jared. We might have Connor joining us very soon. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Job in the Mouth every single Mondays and now Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Yes, and Job in the Mouth is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Omaha Steaks, you will get 10% off if you hit the Job in the Mouth link. Go to www.omahasteaks.com/Job in the Mouth or go to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com and click Omaha Steaks, the one and only logo. And ladies and gentlemen, anything that you buy on Omaha Steaks website using the Jabba and the Mouth link, you will get 10% off. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the one and only E-Man. 10% off on anything you buy by going to Omaha Steaks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not wiping my ass, and if I am, you probably won't be seeing me here. Ladies and gentlemen, we call this Fish's Play of the Week.
This is great about sports. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Fish's Play of the Week.
Breaking news, a lot of hot ladies.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Errol. Butt wiping was exactly where I was going with this one. Because sometimes when you drink too much coffee, that's what happens. You end up in the toilet. And today's play of the week is on defense. It is known as the Coffee House Blitz. Yes, we're going to go to probably future Hall of Famer Lavonte David. Take a look at this kill shot sack against the vaunted Texans offensive line from last night. I'm going to play it for you once. He's coming from middle linebacker, and he's doing kind of an okey-doke. And he has a nice little punt celebration afterwards. But let's run it back and go through this play from the top and go through the offensive line protection, something that I work on. And it's, in fact, this exact play that we've had a lot of trouble with on my high school team. Obviously not as disguised as well as the Bucs are doing it here. But what you're seeing in this is you have 2-3 techniques, and you have two inside linebackers lining up in the A-gap. One of these linebackers is going to come. The other one's going to drop. The 3 techs, you usually think they stay outside the guard. One of them is going to cross face of the center all the way to the other side of the line, while the ends are just rushing upfield on the near side and dropping into coverage on the trip side at the top of the screen. So let me play it a couple of seconds, and you're going to see this little okey-doke move by Lavonte David.
I need a gin and tonic.
Jabba, I was thinking about Hideo Nomo and his looking backwards wind-up when I look at this play. I was telling Speedy about this earlier. It's really kind of remarkable. It's just a little thing that, if you weren't a Hall of Fame type veteran watching film study of a right guard who turns his shoulders too fast, that you would never think to do in a professional football game. This only works because he's acting. Watch him these first couple of seconds, act like he's dropping into coverage, and turn his head away from the play almost slightly, while the other linebacker is faking like he's going, but he will be the one that eventually drops. And there it is. Now he's coming. Take a look at the right guard. He's looking at a little guy. Usually you want the running backs picking up the little guy, and there's actually the running back right there. And the two of them block the same little guy because the guard turned his shoulders because Lavonte David is crafty. They say it's called a coffee house blitz, a little delayed blitz where you're doing kind of almost a Statue of Liberty like you're doing something else. An incredible play call, an incredible move by a middle linebacker. As a coach, you just love to see things like this. It's just an unbelievable play. It makes a big difference in a game. It kills a drive. That's why Lavonte David's Coffee House Blitz is the Fish's Play of the Week.
Suck my Indo.
Play of the Week. Speedy, do that. Could you do that? Play of the Week. All right, now you sound like you're constipated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we call this Speedy's Six-Pack of the Week.
Jabba takes it up.
Let's have a sixer.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer?
It's time for the Speedy Six-Pack of the Week.
Another toe job. Made my nipples hard.
There's a sequel to the Nipples Hard. Wow. I didn't know you had that one in you, Java. All right, so
like the streaks in my britches.
I will mention, unfortunately, before we get into this, Jeremy Mincy unfortunately does have to reschedule with us. He had a flat tire tonight.
All right, that's fine. So, we apologize for all the fans. Looking forward. I guess we'll just interview me.
And the second element of Java, you have some questions you need to hear about from him?
I'll let you lick my butt.
No.
Maybe we'll just bring Nithin on and interview
Another
the great Nith.
All right, well, the second part of
we
this...
have enough time with Nithin?
The second part of this is we actually do have another element to this that Fish and I have been discussing for the last couple of weeks. We are going to do a little bit of a combination of our picks this week with some betting picks as well.
Who's in first, by the way?
Let's Parlay. I did not check the score from last week. You were in the lead as of last week. with 5. But I will update you accordingly. So we are going to change it around a little bit. We're going to do some spread picks instead of just raw
Over-under?
teams winning. No, we're going to do spreads for this week. Maybe we could do over-unders in the future, but we're going to stick with some spread picks for this week. And we have a member of our betting team with us in Chaz is back with us. His triumphant return. He's got you got the footballs in the background. Very nice.
Busy all day today.
So we're going to actually start with tomorrow's game. So this is a big spread, Chaz. 11.5 point spread. The Dolphins, the Bills are favored by 11.5 at home against the Dolphins. The Dolphins needing it. I actually think Miami does cover this spread. I think it's a sense of urgency that they need to play with. So I'm going to take them for my first pick.
Yeah, so they played in October of 23 and September of 24 and November of 24. Buffalo put a 48, 31, and 30. So I like Buffalo here. I like their team total over 29.5. But you know what? If you want a little peace of mind, you can buy it down to 9.5 at minus 160. So you bet $1.60, you win back $2.60. But from a peace of mind standpoint, you can't put a price on a game where other people are losing and you're winning because they win by 10. You know.
Juan Soto's a bitch.
Just me personally, that Dolphins defense, I don't see how they make Josh Allen even sweat in this game. I think it's going to be a massacre, so I'm going to go with the
He is goofy.
Jabba, what do you think, my friend?
I'm going flipping a coin because you guys think we all know and we're the smartest people in the world. So the coin is going to decide. So what do we got? You pick it, heads or tails, and then whatever the spread is what? So one is
11.5. The Bills are favored.
Okay, so heads, Bills, tail. Yeah, here we go. Nope. Not going to cover.
All right. Jabba goes with the Dolphins.
All right,
Do we call it like Washington? You're doing George Washington's making this pick.
Jabba's wrong about this. I'm going to say don't flip a coin anymore.
I've done this on another show and I was 78% right.
Now there's guys in Vegas that are flipping coins and charging for those picks, so you're okay with me.
Juan Soto's
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
If Cox get killed?
All right, Errol, who you got?
I definitely got Buffalo winning this game. Even though Buffalo has problems over, and where's it in Miami?
So it's at Buffalo.
Okay, so I'm going to say Buffalo doesn't. I don't think Miami covers. I think Buffalo kicks the you-know-what out of Miami. So I think it's a blowout.
All right, so the next one I'll do is still with the unknown of Jaden Daniels playing. The Commanders are 3.5 point favorites at home against the Raiders. I do think they still cover this either way, even if Marcus Mariota does have to play. So give me Washington covering this spread.
Ooh, Washington.
All right, Chaz.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if every single game in the NFL got canceled because of thunder and lightning, and this was the only game on TV, I still wouldn't watch it, and I sure in hell ain't gonna pick it.
If Jaden Daniels doesn't play,
you know what? Hold on, because you know what?
You said you weren't going to pick it.
He's got the data coming out.
I got a 50-cent chip here.
Okay.
Okay, from casino.
Dama, you've led a movement.
I made an X. and the X came up, so the home team is the X. So I'm thinking the home team.
All right, so he's got Washington covering 3.5 as well.
I mean,
I like flipping.
I think I'm going to go with Washington. I just think they're a better team, even if Jaden Daniels doesn't play. They have enough skill guys around them. Give me Washington.
Who's Washington playing again?
The Raiders.
Yeah, I have Washington covered. Yep.
Me and you.
So heads is Washington, tails is the Raiders.
Oh, stop.
Heads. I'm not cheating.
They have Washington.
It'd be funny if you were cheating and had a trick coin for this segment. That'd make it even better.
Where'd you ask, Chess?
Is Brady going to that game?
Apparently.
Yes.
Apparently,
no one's
what
upset
happened,
about it.
But there's a twist to it. Apparently, he is, and then they're actually playing. They're actually letting Brady call their opponent next week.
The Mario.
I think it's the Bears. I don't remember offhand. But
Yeah, so they
Stadium.
play the Bears the next week, but they get to go and interview
Another
the Bears
toe
this
job.
week. So Brady's going to try to get information, and Ben Johnson is pretending like he doesn't care.
That's called sex.
All right, we'll move on to one of the games that's going to kind of be a pick-em. The Cardinals and the 49ers. Niners are 1.5-point favorites at home without Brock Purdy. I'm taking Arizona in this game either way.
Interesting.
What do you got, Chaz?
Yeah, you know what? Skipped right over that game, but you know what? I think I like this whole idea of not having the stress over it, and this is again the home team.
Did you just say you don't smell so good? What was that?
No, actually, I showered just for this show.
We're honored.
All right, who did you pick, Chaz?
Home team.
You got the Niners.
Breaking news. I'm putting you on a leash now.
I as well will take the Niners in this game. I just think that their offensive line is playing really well, and Shanahan knows how to get the team to run the ball, and CMC looks really good. They're going to lean on him. He's going to have a big game.
Jabba, you pick
the flip.
Home team.
Niners.
All
Oh,
right.
so far it's been all Niners except for Speedy. I have a feeling you're going a different direction.
No, I'm going to go with the Niners. I don't trust Arizona, so I don't trust Kyler Murray, and everything that I've seen so far with Kyler Murray, he's going to be looking for a new job.
Did you see his post, by the way?
No.
I mean,
didn't
it's oh, so I think it was Instagram or something. He's got a pit bull between his legs with a Michael Vick jersey on.
Oh, I did see that. And he has apologized for it. That's right. He's really got his head in the right place right now, you know.
You didn't know it was a Vic jersey because it was a really cool picture of just him and the dog. You could tell he was wearing a jersey, and then the picture after that was him walking away, and it was so that's the only way you knew.
I really think there's something wrong with that guy. Like I think there's something not ticking right in that guy's brain. He speaks in a third person every single time he speaks to the press, and then he's doing something like that. What's next? He's going to be, beating up some woman on national television and saying, "Oh, she's just a woman. Who cares?"
It sucks for us, like when we talk about it, because like you see something like that, and it could be a topic, but it's like you have to go back and like check your sources and everything because people are so good with AI and all the other stuff that's like, are they just trying to mess with the dude? And I'm like, was he stupid enough to post this, or did somebody make this up?
No.
And I'm like, no, he really did.
That guy's a dumbass. He really is. I used to like the guy, and I really thought he was going to flourish as an NFL quarterback. Boy, oh boy, that's one guy that I was wrong about. That's for damn sure. He's been an absolute bust. Let's go on.
All right, let's move on to the AFC West duel. The Broncos are at the Chargers. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites at home. I'm going to take Denver in this game.
That's going to be a great game.
I am sick to my stomach about the fact that at some point in time I have to get my disdain for the Spanos-led organization that rents their stadium and accept the fact that they're covering the spread, man. They're just covering the spread. Is what they're doing. I'm taking the home team.
Wow,
The Khakis, man. I'm trusting the Khakis to cover this spread to win this game. It might be a one-possession game, but I do think they're going to cover that spread and win.
Chaz, in honor of you picking them, I did label.
So
SD.
who do you have, Fish?
Chargers.
Chaz, I labeled them all as SD instead of LA, just for you.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
Jabba, are you ready for the flip, the land, the call?
I got the Chargers as well.
Ooh.
There it is.
Picking against his son's team.
You know what? I was in Vegas once, and we lost money to a guy on the, that downtown area where there's all kinds of people. And he was flipping a coin and calling, and he had double-sided coin. I checked that coin after 4 hits in a row.
All right.
You in Vegas? Were you back in Vegas like 4 years ago?
Yeah. I didn't have a beard though. You didn't know it.
That's right.
Breaking news. Lick it and stick it.
All right, Speedy, what do we got left? Errol, go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Broncos winning this game. I think it'll be close. I think the Broncos defense will do enough in the game to win, and I think the Broncos will run the ball and dominate the line of scrimmage. So I'm going to go Broncos.
All right, we got two left. Probably the two best games of the week. We got the Rams are at the Eagles. -3.5. The Eagles are favored. I'm going to take the Rams in this game. The Eagles' offense, from a passing standpoint, still doesn't impress me yet. So I think the Rams do steal this one on the road.
Yeah, I don't need a coin to tell myself I'm not betting against the Eagles at home.
I have no sack.
Jalen Hurts is apparently like the second worst quarterback at putting the ball downfield so far this season. But it's quite a small sample size, and they did win the Super Bowl pretty convincingly last year, so I'm going with the Eagles at home.
It's gross.
Had to give a little shot, though, at them.
Not stopping you from doing it.
The flip!
Ooh, I got home team.
Eagles. Are you going to go with the Eagles?
The Eagles. I mean, it's the coin, baby.
Errol, the Eagles?
I'm going with the Eagles. Yeah. I think the Eagles win.
Yeah.
All right, the last one will be the Monday night game. The Lions at the Ravens. The Ravens are 5-point favorites at home in primetime. I don't know if I could trust their defense to be able to do that the way they struggled against the Bills. I think Detroit still has enough on offense. I think the Ravens win the game. I think the Lions do cover that spread, though.
I recently celebrated our anniversary, 30-something years. So, and I'm leaving Friday, as you know, for a long trip, and I'm going to be with my wife pretty much every day for like 20 straight days. So there's no way I'm rooting for Detroit in this game because she's going to be wearing her Andrews jersey or what? She got like 5 Baltimore jerseys. But I will have money on the over. So here's what I get to do. I get to cheer when Baltimore scores, and I get to stifle it when the other team scores. And as long as I cash, I'm good.
I definitely think it's over as well.
Who wants to get the ass?
I would be surprised if it's not the over as well, but I think it's going to come down to probably the last possession, and I don't think it's going to be 5 points. So I'm going to say the Lions cover, but I think it's going to be a cover, and the Ravens probably take it. But I don't think that's like 5's a little rich for me.
Teams or not.
Oh, God.
Go ahead, John.
All right, here we go. I got the visitors.
All right. So who's he got? He's got the Lions covering.
Lions.
I think the Ravens are going to win. They're very hard to beat at home. But I have the Lions covered.
All right.
We're in agreement. And that's Speedy's 6-pack of the week.
Yeah. Hey. Before we let you go, my friend, do you have any other picks before we let you go?
Yeah, so Errol, what we're doing now is we transfer right into the next segment for Chaz. Whatever picks you have left that we haven't covered, it's time for the drop, Tommy.
I got Green Bay. I got Green Bay.
Let's parlay.
Parlay, ole, ole, ole. It's time for Let's Parlay.
Beneficial. Dissect. I don't know and I don't care.
I'm sorry.
Chaz is having an emotional reaction to the soundboard.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
You ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, so I got Green Bay. Cleveland hasn't scored in the first quarter this year, and it's 6 straight. And that's another game where it's a big spread, 7. So that's -120 on my board. And if you want to go peace of mind, you can buy it down to -6.5 or -135. And again, a lot of times that's a waste of money, but once in a blue moon, it makes a difference. This is the first road game of the year for the Colts, right? Tennessee's 0-9 against the spread, including last week at home. The last 9, so I'm taking the Colts there. And I got one more bet. I got Tampa Bay's team total over against the Jets. The Jets had 2 home games to start. Their last 6 on the road, they've allowed 27 points per game. Tampa Bay has had 2 road games to start. That 3 games in a row in any sport, home or away, is a big deal. And that 3rd game is hard, and the 4th game is usually even harder. So their last 7 at home, they've scored 26. So they scored 26. The Jets have given up 27. I think that Tampa Bay's team total is going over, and I'm going to have that parlayed with the Buffalo Bills team total as well. That's all I got for the pros.
Yeah, if you have any other college picks or anything like that, you could say those.
Well, here's the world I'm in. I'm doing those 7 auctions in 7 days, as you can see behind me. And so I've been busy because I'm liquidating the inventory. We're not going to do autograph shows anymore. We're not going to do any wholesale deals. So I'm liquidating those, which is keeping me busy because a week from Friday, I leave for 21 days. And that's the longest trip I've ever been. So I found 4 plays. So if we did have the Let's Parlay, I would have 4 plays. But I'm putting coffee on tonight, and I'll be ready by tomorrow. And then you and I will talk for Saturday night show, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'll come back for some. I know, but Wes was backing off CFL last week, but I went 3-1 with the CFL, and I'm going to keep betting the CFL. If I'm going to keep catching, I'm going to keep playing it. But they're 2 Friday and 2 Saturday, so that won't help us for Moneyline Mania.
Anyone! Anyways, we love you, man. Keep up the good work,
gentlemen.
And keep cashing your checks, my friend.
We will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chazimoto, as we call him. I call him Chazimoto.
Hey,
but
check it out. Check out the eBay store on there. You probably, Petey, did you see any of the videos?
I did not. I didn't see it.
Check out the Championship Football Facebook page for the videos.
All right.
But yeah, we got some really cool. Tonight the Giants ball sold.
Okay.
Tomorrow we got an Eric Parsegian. We got a Green Bay with AJ Hawk and Clay Matthews III. We have a Rudy ball. Rudy and Era signed this Notre Dame ball. We got a Notre Dame ball with Era, Drew Pearson, Rocky Bleier. Who else? There's 2 other guys on that one, and then the big one is the Dallas Cowboys. We got the Dallas Cowboys, 5-time Super Bowl champion football, signed by 3 players representing all 5 rings. And as you know, it's going to be a long, long time before Dallas gets another one.
Before I just want to mention, Fish was a big fan of your commercials. By the way, he was he was so disappointed when the lease ran out.
So disappointed. I wish you could have kept selling those things for many more ad reads.
You got to hear the best story. So my nephew hits me up and goes, "Not for nothing, Uncle Mark. It looks like you're using like an iPhone 7." Well, it was a brand new camera, but I hadn't used it for any video or picture taking or anything. So the plastic was still on the back, protection sleeve. I was still on the camera. I didn't realize it until after the fact. I turned it on and said, "Oh, this isn't supposed to be here." And that little protection, the plastic thing, it made a big difference in the quality of my video.
Joba, smack my ass.
anyways, Chaz, we really appreciate the time. We love you. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, we'll see you at Moneyline Mania, guys.
There you go.
Suck my Indo.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's parlay with the Chaz Man. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we call this In Like Flynn.
Welcome to Sherwood, my lady. I've often heard that you'd give me a warm welcome if ever we met again.
In Like Flynn.
What a picture. Man, that would be scary. Could you imagine me wearing the Errol Flynn Robin Hood, the little feather popping out of my hat? I mean, that would be an interesting look for me, especially here in the 2000 era. Anyways, In Like Flynn this week is, so I wanted to go and look back at over the last couple of years, but then I said, you know what? 2025, how are they going to rate the NFL top coaches going into the season? And there is a website, Total Pro Sports. They do it for every single sport. I found this article, and they rated all 32 teams and all 32 coaches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top 10, and I'm going to give you thumbs up or thumbs down if I agree with them. You guys ready? We're going to go from 10 to 1. You ready? Number 10 for Total Pro Sports. They got the one and only Mike Tomlin at number 10 right now in the NFL. Interesting. I mean, obviously, Mike Tomlin, 8 consecutive years in the playoffs and falling flat on his face. He has not won a playoff game in 8 years. So My answer to that would be thumbs down. I do not believe Mike Tomlin is a top 10 coach right now in the NFL. Hence the reason why I believe he will be fired at the end of the season. I would put right now Kevin O'Connell or Sean Payton in that position right now in the top 10. Number 9, Kyle Shanahan, a guy that has not won a Super Bowl as a head coach. He's been there for almost 8 years. He's got 2 new contracts and has failed to win a Super Bowl with one of the best defensive teams in all of the league for the 8 years he's been there. It's been a huge problem. Nick Bosa is one of the best pass rushers in the league. They have one of the great linebackers in all of football. And they have Christian McCaffrey, who's been there for quite a few years as well, one of the best running backs in the league. They've had Deebo Samuel, who's the trifecta. I call him the trifecta because he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he can throw the ball. He can do everything. He was there. They had Ayuk. They had everybody. They have George Kittle, and they still couldn't get over the hump. So I would take Kyle Shanahan out of the top 10 right now. I give him 2 thumbs down, and I would put you know what I put? I put Dan Quinn there. That's where I would put. After what Dan Quinn has done as a coach in his first year, taking his team to an NFC title game, I would put Dan Quinn at number 9. Number 8, Jim Harbaugh. Now, here's the thing. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the top 4 coaches right now in the NFL. I disagree with them on putting him at 8. I think he's much higher than that. For what Jim Harbaugh has done over the last 2 years, and this is his second year with the Chargers, is absolutely amazing.
Does this website give you like a standard of what it is, or is it just like
they rated them? They gave you all 32 coaches. I think it was 32.
Oh, but it didn't give you like the breakdown of like
no.
Or
They just
percentage
gave
or anything.
No. They gave the reasons why. I'll tell you why they say Jim Harbaugh is number 8. I'll give you the answer to this. They said you could argue Harbaugh deserves a higher place right now, but will need an extended look at La La Land. The national championship win head coach immediately left his mark by leading the Bolts to 11 wins and the NFL's top defense last season. Harbaugh has won wherever he's gone. Can the Chargers take the next step to emerge as a Super Bowl contender in 2025? I disagree with them, even though I like what they had to say. They won 11 games last year, okay? And I think they're going to win more games this year. I think this team is so much better than they were last year, and I think this defense is going to explode right off the paper as one of the top 5 defenses in all of football. I do believe Coach Harbaugh is higher than this, so I'm going to give him 2 thumbs down. I think he's higher than that. I would put in his position right now where guys like, I used to think DeMeco Ryan would be there, but I disagree. I don't think DeMeco Ryan is in the top 10 after what we've seen so far this year. I would put Matt LaFleur here. That's what I put. Matt LaFleur with the Green Bay Packers, I think he's a sensational offensive coordinator. I think everything that he's done with the Green Bay Packers and the development of some of the young players that he has. Jordan Love, he was his pick, his choice to move away from Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to put Matt LaFleur at number 8. At number 7, they have Matt LaFleur. And I disagree. And again, there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't have Matt LaFleur in the top 7. But I disagree with them. I think Matt LaFleur has been successful. I think he's been sensational. I think he's a top 10 coach right now in the NFL. Very well deserved. But putting him at 7 when there's quite a few other coaches I would put ahead of him, I would put Sean McDermott, who has had a great career so far with Buffalo. Has fallen short, but he is taking this Buffalo Bills team. Remember, this guy was a defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people thought that Buffalo could have went in many different directions at the coaching position, and they went with Sean McDermott. So I would put Sean McDermott at 7. So I'll give him 2 thumbs down. At number 6, they have Sean McDermott. I wouldn't put Sean McDermott over there. I would put John Harbaugh over there. John Harbaugh, I would put him closer to the top 5 right now. John Harbaugh has to prove himself this year to take that next step with a young quarterback in Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's 28. He just got a big new contract in the offseason. I think he's a sensational quarterback. He needs to stay healthy, and this team needs to take that next step. So I'm going to put 2 thumbs down. Sean McDermott would be 1. At 7, I would put Jim Harbaugh at number 6. At number 5, they have Dan Campbell. Now, I think Dan Campbell is higher than this. I think Dan Campbell, he was coach of the year last year. He's been sensational with the Lions. The development of some of the young players. He took on Jared Goff. Over the last couple of years, Jared Goff has become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Transition when a lot of teams, including Sean McVay, didn't think he was a starting quarterback or a number 1 quarterback in the NFL. They took a chance with him. They traded Matthew Stafford. They traded a ton of draft. They got to cut a ton of draft stock for Matthew Stafford, and look what they've turned out to be. So I'm going to say that Dan Campbell is higher than this. I would give him 2 thumbs down. I think he's a lot higher than this. I would put Sean McVay at number 5. I'll tell you why I would put Sean McVay at number 5. He did win a Super Bowl. Sean McVay is one of the more overrated coaches in NFL history. Now, I know you like him, Jabba. I know he won a Super Bowl, and I know a lot of people think that he is the mastermind of that offense. He really isn't. He came from the Kyle Shanahan tree. He also came from Mike Shanahan's tree. I think everything that he runs is really what Mike Shanahan ran over the years. And I think he's a great coach. I think he's been successful. I just think that the last couple of seasons, he hasn't been as good as he was when he won the Super Bowl with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So I would put him at 5, and I would move Dan Campbell to number 3. So I'll tell you why. At number 4, Nick Sirianni, I agree with them. Nick Sirianni deserves a lot of credit. Nick Sirianni has been sensational. He almost got fired last year. And you know about the coaching staff. Both his coaches, one went to Indianapolis, the other one went to Arizona. And after that, they kind of fell flat on the face, and he had to make moves. He brought Kellen Moore there. He brought a competent coach, a defensive coordinator there, and you saw what they did. They won a Super Bowl last year. They made some good moves. They have one of the best GMs in all of football. You can argue he is the best GM in football, and he decided to sit with Sirianni last offseason and told Sirianni, "You're my guy. I believe you can take us to the promised land and win a Super Bowl," and he did. So I'm going to go Nick Sirianni, thumbs up. I think Sirianni is 4. At number 3, Dan Campbell is sitting pretty there. I think Dan Campbell is absolutely a top 3 coach right now in the NFL, winning coach of the year. I disagree with them with Sean McVay. I don't think Sean McVay is a top 3 coach right now in the NFL. His failures over the last 2 years, even though a lot of people say he brought a young team, they have a young defense, and he had to rebuild that defense, and that's fine. Great for him. Great coaches find a way to win. And that's what I say. And the guy, even though he has Matthew Stafford, even though he's lost Aaron Donald and he's added some youngsters, I don't know if Sean McVay would be in my top 3. Dan Campbell has been as sensational over the last 3 or 4 years as a coach you would expect to be. He won Coach of the Year last year, and a successful Lions team that went all the way to an NFC title game and was, a couple of plays short over the last couple of years. So I'm going to go with Dan Campbell at number 3. Number 2, John Harbaugh. I absolutely thumbs up. I think John Harbaugh has been very successful as a head coach in the NFL. He's won Super Bowl. He actually beat his brother Jimmy. He outlasted Jim Harbaugh against the San Francisco 49ers. Remember the lights went out. Remember that whole story. But John Harbaugh has been very successful. He's had plenty of coaches on that coaching staff and has been successful every single year. This is one of the best defenses in the league, year in and year out. Since Lamar Jackson, he's coached Lamar Jackson. He's transitioned his offense into a style that has fit Lamar Jackson. They've had arguably one of the best running games in football year in and year out over the years. And guys like Hill and all these other guys, Dobbins, There are guys that have been in and out of this Baltimore Ravens, different running backs, and still has dominated at the running game year in and year out. And I don't think they've ever had a number one wide receiver since John Harbaugh's been there. You could argue that they haven't. So I'm going to go with John Harbaugh at number 2. And number 1, I believe he's the best coach in the NFL. I don't think there's any argument to that right now. This guy has been the face of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's the fattest person and the fattest coach right now in the NFL. There's no question he is. He likes his hamburgers. He likes his Whoppers. Maybe we hook him up with Speedy's mom as she's Mrs. Willie Whoppers. That's Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid is the best offensive mind in NFL history. You can argue when you look at the San Francisco offenses, you talk about, because he comes from that tree. You talk about Gibbs. You talk about all these different coaches over the years. I don't know if there's anybody that has been as prolific and as smart as Andy Reid. I'm going to go Andy Reid as my number 1, 2 thumbs up. So there you go. My top 10 coaches. I argued my thoughts to the Total Pro Sports picks. That's my opinion, as we call that in Flint. That was good. I think everybody enjoyed that one. It was interesting. It was my last thought of where I wanted to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we call this Save Your Tears.
Mom, what's one thing that you can't talk to me about?
My sexual disease.
No! Say you're sorry.
It is not ideal, but if it's what means, it is not ideal, but if it is not ideal, but if it is what means. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lord, you guys, enough.
And now, it's time for Save Your Tears.
Jabba likes my shrimp cocktail.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Save Your Tears.
I got the good wood here.
Yeah, bring them in. Bring Jared in. We're going to get everybody in on tonight's game. And again, we're doing week 3 of the NFL season. I've picked 3 games from the week's slate of games, and we will be picking our players in 5 categories with a $15 salary cap. This is the PPR Yahoo's fantasy football scoring. I'm basically literally just looking at what they got in Yahoo in our league that we do together, which I am dominating in first place currently. Now, here we go. Today's games.
I'm 2-0. What are you talking about?
Yeah, look at the power rankings. Who's 2-0 and ranked number 1?
You're not winning, dude. You're not winning. Don't worry about it. You're not winning.
We'll see. Josh Allen might have other things to say about it.
No, Josh
Here
Allen,
it is.
You can eat my ass. Josh Allen has nothing to say.
Well, maybe one of these guys has something to say about it. I'm going to read this off to our listeners who do not have the video. But guys, as always, if you want to see the video, just look on Apple or Spotify for our video feed, or look on YouTube where all of our videos are housed, guys. There we are. Quarterback position. We're going the Chargers, Justin Herbert. The Broncos, Bo Nix. The Texans, CJ Stroud. The Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. And the Bengals, Jake Browning. We have a couple of backups going on. I decided not to take the immortal Carson Wentz for this game. Sorry, Eagle fan, secondary fan, Errol Marks. There's some love for Wentz. We'll do another time. Travis Etienne is the top running back at $5. Omarion Hampton at 4. Chase Brown at 3. Nick Chubb at 2. And J.K. Dobbins at 1. Pretty good running back category, if not spectacular. Wide receiver 1, again, it has to be from this column, not the other one, or a combination of 2. Number 1 wide receiver is Justin Jefferson for $5, followed by Brian Thomas Jr., T. Higgins, Quentin Johnson, and Troy Franklin. Wide receiver 2, Jamar Chase as the $5 player, followed by Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, Cortland Sutton, and the Gremlin, Travis Hunter.
Pick him.
And tight end $5 player is TJ Hawkinson, followed by Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange, Mike Gesicki, and Dalton Schultz. So the way that we always do this is...
You should do an alternate version where if Errol picks Travis Hunter, you give him $3 extra. Would he do it?
Nope.
I don't think he would. But let's get back to the primary view of it. And we're going to go down the line. Our winner this past week was Errol Marks. So, Errol, you're going to be the last one to go, or you can decide to go first. Or
no, I'm not going to go first, but I'm not going to listen to what your picks are, so I don't have to hear it.
So you are going to go before me. So I will just sit tight. And we will start with, how about we start with Tommy Poops? All right, let's add it back to the stage for you. Tommy, after Tommy, it'll be Jarrett, then Goody, and then I guess Errol, if he decides to come back, will just insert himself after that before Jabba, Speedy, and myself go.
Fish, right. I love how you did the Nathan exception. You have to pick from one from this one and one from wide receiver 2.
Only Nathan has like a tuck rule type of rule in
oh my gosh, I didn't know if he was ever going to figure that out.
It was
Nathan was the one trying to save $4 another time too.
Yeah,
sometimes I'm not sure. I'm not sure he can like box his way out of a paper bag. But right now, I gotta hear the $15 salary cap team of Tommy Poops.
All right. I'm tired of finishing in the top 3. This is going to be my week. I'm going with Justin Herbert as my quarterback. My fantasy quarterback, too, so we're going to be rooting for him this week for sure. Give me J.K. Dobbins as my running back. Then I'm going to go with T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, and then...
So that gives you 5, 6, 11. You got $4.
I'll go with Gesicki.
All right, and Gesicki. All right, so I have your team as Herbert, Dobbins, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, and Mike Gesicki. All right, Jarrett, you understand the rules. You got $15 to spend. What do you got?
Okay, after a very panicked look at the matchups this week, I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence as my QB, Omarion Hampton as my running back, Troy Franklin as my wide receiver 1, Jamar Chase as my wide receiver 2, and Brenton Strange at tight end.
All right. I've got you as Trevor Lawrence, Omarion Hampton, Troy Franklin, Jamar Chase, and Brenton Strange. Speedy, that math look right to you?
6.
You are critiquing a math degree holder. Just so you know, if he is wrong. It says a lot about 2 different things. So we're just going to make sure this is right.
Okay.
I was pretty sure the math was going to be right for Jarrett.
Yeah, he's got one of each number. He's fine.
I got a lot writing if I just messed up adding to 15.
Jared, I've got a 19-year-old kid. You'd be surprised how bad they can mess some simple math up these days.
It happens.
All right, the good wood. What do you got for us?
I'm going to go CJ Stroud.
Chat GPT this, Goody.
I always chat GPT pick.
I don't even know who they're playing, to be honest with you. I probably should try and chat GPT this, but I'm going to go CJ Stroud, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Dalton Schultz.
Oh, you just went.
Yeah, 2 5s, 2 1s, and a 3. He's good, yeah.
Give me a little repeat of that real quick.
CJ Stroud, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Dalton Schultz.
So you went the 2 big receivers. You went Jefferson and Chase. That's interesting. I like that. That's bold strategy, Cotton.
That's what we do, bro.
All right,
McCarthy's
CJ Stroud,
out
JK.
too, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, no McCarthy. You got
Carson
the immortal
Wentz.
Carson Wentz starting in that game. I mean, look, he's an interesting player. Let's put it that way. Stroud, Dobbins, JJ, Chase, and Dalton Schultz. Errol, when am I allowed to go, or how's this work? Who should go the rest of the way? It's just the 4 of us now left. He's not paying attention. Speedy, why don't you go?
All right, I'll go with Lawrence. I'm going to go with Chase Brown. Give me, let's see. Give me Nico Collins. That puts me at 9. Yeah, I'll go Strange and T. Higgins.
All right, Higgins and Strange. Errol. Tommy, throw something at him.
I'm calling you. Fish is getting your attention.
Is it my turn?
Is it my turn?
I don't know. You told me I'm not allowed to go before you. And it's just me, Jabba, and you left.
I'm not paying attention. You guys,
All right, you go because he has his headphones off anyway. So
All right, that's fine. All right, go ahead. Watch another rerun of Golden Girls. I've got. Here we go. So I haven't looked at this at all. I'm not gonna lie. I've been running around trying to do everything for this show. I'm gonna go crazy on this one. I think Jared and Speedy are onto something with Trevor Lawrence. Surprisingly good Jacksonville line, #1 ranking in offensive line impact so far in 2 games this season. So I think they're going to do well, and I'm also going to take the running back behind that line in Travis Etienne. No one's done that yet. I don't know if I spelled Etienne's name right up there. Sorry if I didn't. Probably not. 7. So now I'm got receiver. Well, first off, I'm going to go with Strange as well at tight end, because I really like that play. So I'm just going to load up like I did last week and probably be wrong about the team I pick for offense. So, Speedy, how much I got left?
So you have 10, so you got 5 left.
I got 5 left.
5 left for 2 receivers.
All right, so I'm going to load up in a different way. I'm going to go McConkey and Quentin Johnson. All right, Johnson, kind of maligned the first couple of years of his career. Looks pretty awesome. And McConkey.
That's all Chargers and Jaguars on your team.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. I want a big game from those guys this week. So now we're going to go over to Jabba Chamberlain.
I'm going to go, I do like the Trevor Lawrence. And then I'm going to go the Chubby.
Chubb.
And then, you know what? I'm going to have to go Justin Jefferson just because I think Carson Wentz is an old salty, so he's going to go to a trusty, and I think Justin Jefferson is obviously that. So then I'm probably going to go Evan Ingram, and then that leaves me with $2, right?
Yes.
Travis Hunter.
And I will go. I'm not saving $1. We don't get rollover money. I asked that. I thought this was old school cell phone rollover minutes.
Well, I mean, it'd be hilarious, Jabba, if your big win came because of Travis Hunter, and you beat Errol because of Travis Hunter. You could just spend the extra $1 on T.J. Hawkinson and get Travis Hunter.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it.
I love it. Watch him go for Travis 102 TDs.
Yeah, Travis Hunter has put up a total of 8 points.
Well, yeah, averaging 3.9 yards a catch right now.
He's primed, Jabba. He's primed.
He's due. He's due.
No pun intended, Goody. He's primed.
Yeah, he's due. He's primed. Exactly.
All right, get Errol. His turn.
Your turn. You're up.
By the way, Job, I think you would really like the C4, the Jolly Rancher. This is delicious. Blue raspberry, no sugar, Jolly
Rancher. You're drinking that right now? It's freaking 9, almost 10 o'clock, bro.
I had a half of them. I didn't have
also milk.
I like this. I need the energy. By the way, I've been, running around all day. I need the energy. All right. What do we got here? Number 1, the quarterback. I'm going Justin Herbert. I'm gonna go Nick Chubb. I will go Nick Chubb is 2. I'll go. I'm trying to think right now where we go here. All right, I'll go Brian Thomas. How much is that?
That is 11.
I will go.
Oh, you might have to take Travis Hunter.
I will go Cortland Sutton at $2, and I will go Dalton. What is that? 13?
Yeah, 13. You got 2 left.
All right, so I have 2 left. No, I don't. I have 1 left, right?
No, Sutton's 2. You had 11. Sutton's 2, so that's 13. You got 2 left.
Wait, I went Justin Herbert.
He's right. You got $2.
Yeah, I got 2 left. That's what I'm saying. So, Brian Thomas, I went Cortland Sutton, and I'll go Mike Gesicki.
All right, and Gesicki.
That's where
Let's take a look at everyone's squad. show you the master screen. We will, as always, share the winner on next week's show, where the winner gets a compliment chorus, which is just good enough for 51% compliments. Here are everyone's teams. We got a couple of Herberts, 4 Trevor Lawrences, and 1 CJ Stroud. We got a couple of Chubbs, a couple of Dobbins, and everyone kind of picked every running back. I think that's the only category that everyone was picked.
Woody.
Errol was the only one who took Brian Thomas Jr., a couple of Jeffersons, and it kind of scattered around. Everyone was picked in that one as well. Looks like we have we got 2 Jamar Chases, and everyone else was different at receiver
Brian
2.
Thomas Jr. This guy is as good as any wide receiver in the league.
He just wasn't good last week, so
I'm not worried.
And Cortland Sutton, I think, had 1 catch last week.
Who's a
and some of these, and Troy Franklin was a $1 player, had 8 catches for 89 yards, and whoever took him, Jarrett, was on to that. It looks like we'll see if he could do it again. And again, if you lose, there's no crying. You've got to save your tears.
Now the real question: if Jabba wins, are you going to put up a gremlin graphic?
No. They better not screw up that jersey, those little idiots. I mean, I ordered a Warriors jersey with my number, and it says the mouth, and they send me a Steph Curry jersey, which, I mean, out of all the guys I kind of dislike in sports, I don't hate Steph Curry. So I'm not upset that I'm wearing a jersey of his, but that's not what I wanted. I'm just saying. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we call this Goodies Bag of Balls.
My mom was going to wire a car battery on my testicles.
Trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts.
Goodies Bag of Balls.
That's how you become great, man. Hang your balls out there.
Breaking news. Goody has no Woody.
Well, I got a Woody, all right.
I have no Woody.
From Toy Story? Pretty mouth there. Arrow. All right. This one I got the first story on the board is Ohtani's moving to the outfield for the playoffs. I hope you guys saw that. He said in a report he's willing to move to the outfield for the playoffs. And it goes on to say Ohtani floated the possibility to members of the Japanese media after the Dodgers 9-6 loss to the Phillies on Tuesday, during which the two-way superstar tossed 5 innings of no-hit ball and also hit his 50th homer of the season. Los Angeles went on to go up and give up 9 runs and destroy the game. They've pretty much hit a rough patch here, but Ohtani the outfield. It's going to be pretty interesting considering the fact that it could be a problem because of baseball's new rules. When Ohtani starts a game on the mound and is replaced, he's able to remain in the game as a designated hitter. But if he were to start the game as a DH and then pitch in relief, the Dodgers would lose a DH once Ohtani's pitching appearance is done. So not really sure how they're going to juggle this, but I do think it's pretty interesting that the most highest paid player in baseball is willing to do whatever it takes to win a championship. Yet we have some guys that played for the team in Mass that were not willing to do the same thing.
This is a horrible move. All right. First of all, your best player, the highest paid player in the MLB, you're going to put him in the outfield. He hasn't played in the outfield since Japan. He's never played that at any point here in the major leagues. All he has to do is trip on his own feet, and he could be out for the whole playoffs. You don't want to put him in harm's way. Your best player, quote unquote, that is making $70 million. Well, he's not because it's deferred for the next 10 years. But nevertheless, this is a bad move by the Dodgers. I would not put your best player in harm's way. Put him out in the outfield. We've seen what happened to, Aaron Judge. Remember that when he was running in the outfield against the Dodgers? He stubbed his toe and he wasn't the same player that year. I don't think this is a smart move by the Dodgers. You invested a lot of money and he is your best player and you put him out there. It doesn't make sense. Stupid move by the Dodgers.
Seems unnecessary, too. They have enough outfield depth to make it worth it. Andy Paz has had a nice year in center field. They got Teoscar Hernandez, who was probably one of their better playoff hitters last year. I guess that left field spot maybe could be a bit of a rotation, losing Chris Taylor. But they have Tommy Edmonds still there, who was a hero in the postseason against the Mets and against the Yankees. So I don't know really the need for it at the moment, unless one of those just guys can either get hurt or really slump badly. As far as the DH to like losing that strategy aspect you were talking about, Goody, I think that's definitely interesting, but I think the Dodgers are the one team that could also get away with, like, all right, we could just pinch hit a bunch of guys and not have the DH there.
Yeah, their roster's built pretty stout. Like, they're just hitting a rough patch now. I mean, I have no doubt they're definitely going to get hot when time comes. I mean, they're a very talented ball club. I agree with you. I don't think it's the smartest idea, but then again, I'm not the president. I'm not the manager, so we'll see what happens and where he actually ends up. But I do think that it poses a risk for him playing in the outfield. You're talking about, one of, if not the greatest players to ever play the game of baseball, pitches, hits, steals bases, and now you're potentially going to put him in harm's way being in the outfield. It only takes one throw from left field or right field from home, max effort, when he hasn't thrown consistently. Also, he's coming off of Tommy John surgery as well. That's pretty still, it's fresh, right? I don't know. I don't like it. I think he gave the politically correct response. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to help the team win. But at the end of the day, behind closed doors, he's probably like, I'm good, but I don't need to play outfield. I'll hit homers and throw no hitters for you.
I would love his politically advice on that $250 million that he was involved with, those condominiums. That would be politically correct. I would love to hear his take on that. Well, there's other politicians.
That's financial.
I would love to hear his politics on that. He likes to politically come out there and say, I'll do whatever the team wants me to do. Well, guess what? Why don't you tell us what you were doing with that whole story? I would love to know that.
He was doing what the team wanted him to do in that scandal.
Yeah, I should probably, or his agent that was involved with it.
So yeah, the old Jabba's going to take over as his agent of the future.
That would be interesting. I think Jabba would be right behind him. He'd be like, you know what? You can hide this. No, you have to prove it. You're not going to prove it. I'm Shohei Ohtani. I get away with everything.
100%. I'll take my 5%. Take my happy ass straight to the bank.
Duty.
Yeah.
Dodger.
I'll do the same thing. I would do the same thing. Anyways.
I mean, I wouldn't put him in the outfield, but I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would fight him about
it wouldn't make any sense. If you're a Dodger fan, you do not want to see Shohei Ohtani play in the outfield where you're putting him in harm's way. It doesn't make any sense.
And they floated the idea of him coming out of the bullpen as well. And I think that's where
I think that makes more sense.
That's good. I actually
think that makes.
I think
more
we
sense.
talked about that. Jabba.
You realize you can't do that.
You don't think so? Like a super.
How would you be able to get it done? Like, yeah, there's just the way. I mean, granted, there is bullpens under, but if he's got to hit, try to get ready. Like, what if there's not a mound underneath? There's no way you have time to go back, because sometimes there's not a back entrance to hop on a golf cart to get there. You got to run across the field run straight.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. Like, if he's closing the game and his spot's not up, because we've seen him do it in the WBC. But
the logistics of that would be
almost impossible.
Yeah, and he's not playing in Dodger Stadium every game. He's going to be on the road traveling and this and that. I mean, they would have to almost like bring a portable mound, set it underneath in a tunnel, set up a catcher.
And that's even worse.
Yeah, then you're just like posing for injury. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I mean, unless they can somehow figure it out and get it done. Obviously he's young, he's freak nature, but I don't know. I don't know. Tough call.
Yeah, I didn't think of it from the park factor perspective. That's different. I
love Lisa Ann.
I know some of them have the not bullpen car stadiums, but I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Our favorite baby daddy Stephon Diggs is welcoming a new baby in the world with Cardi B. Didn't know if you knew that, but Cardi B just confirmed that she's pregnant with her fourth child, and Stephon Diggs will be the father. This will be her first child with Diggs. Cardi B already has 3 children with her ex, Offset. I think he was a part of the Three Amigos. Was it called Migos?
Migos. Yeah.
Migos, yeah. For Diggs, this adds to his family too. He has a daughter named Nova. The announcement was made during a CBS Morning interview where Cardi B said she feels, quote, strong, powerful, and supported. The baby is due before her upcoming arena tour, Little Miss Drama, which launches in February. When asked at his locker, Stephon Diggs practiced a little bit of restraint, saying he didn't like to talk too much about his life.
Oh yeah,
personal life.
Here's what I have my take on it. How much of the pink stuff was she sniffing when he was banging her in the ass? That's what I want to know.
Gosh.
Obviously, he wasn't if she's pregnant.
Well, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she's the first to get banged in the ass and get pregnant from it. I have no idea, but I'm going to tell you this: I could care less that she's pregnant with Stephon Diggs' kid. We all know what happened. They're not even dating anymore. It just shows you how big of a you-know-what she is. It makes me sick to my stomach, and it just tells you that guys, especially football players and athletes, they do things and they go out there and they put themselves out there in the public eye. They go to basketball games, playoff games of the New York Knicks. Then he go on a boat. He's sniffing pink crap.
Hey, this is just another love story like Travis Kelce and Tay Swifty.
Behind, and now he's pregnant with her, being a baby's dad. What a sell. And by the way, does Cardi B really need the money? Does she really need that kind of money? I don't think so. I think she's bringing in more money than he is. This might be the first time where the singer or the rapper is making more money than the baby daddy. So I'm going to go with Cardi B. Team Cardi B. Miss Smelly, as we call
I don't know about that. There was Chris Humphries that dated a Kardashian, so
well,
she might have more money than him.
I think what I've heard about Cardi B is, I not necessarily have met her or been face to face with her. I've been in the right locations where she has been. She smells like really bad. So good for him. Good for him. Yeah. Good for him. What are they going to name him or her? Smelly?
Maybe have you seen some of the names of her kids?
No. I'd like to call it Smelly.
Maybe they'll name it what the pink substance is in the medical term.
Goodness. Well, I just want to congratulate them on their child. Also, I don't know if you saw the video of them when Stephon Diggs, I can't remember which team he was with at the time, but they went around asking every player who you wouldn't let your sister.
I was on TikTok.
Date. And then the number one resounding answer was Stephon Diggs. I don't know, but Cardi B seemed to bag him. So there we go. Congratulations, Cardi. Congratulations, Stephon. Hopefully, pray for a healthy baby.
Most annoying celebrity couple that's going to take over next.
I don't know. There's a couple out there right now. Pretty.
I'm a little
lost. Trying to let them bother me because I really don't care too much, but it is what it is. But
no, I don't either. I'm not implying I care if anything about Cardi B and Stephon Diggs, who I used to be fine with, has been really annoying like the last few years, so, like, even as a player, like even before just dating. So that just what do you really want to support any of the couple?
I don't know. Well, my last pitch of the day, not a conspiracy theory this time around, but the GOAT is unretiring. Tom Brady has come out and said he is unretiring.
Damn you! This is what I was going to cover.
Well, then you should have a lot to say. He's unretiring for flag football tournament in Saudi Arabia. Tom Brady said he is set to come out of retirement, but not in the NFL. He'll be playing a flag football tournament, the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on March 28, 2026. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of big names there. Rob Gronkowski, Saquon Barkley, CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, coaches, Pete Carroll will be there, Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan. This isn't like your typical comeback, but It's more like what they're doing with baseball, I think, with the baseball league in Dubai. I think they're trying to spread the sport a little bit to.
You definitely want to spread Cardi B's legs. That stinks. That's
I
a big
don't,
stitch.
I don't
Dick
necessarily
was
think the GOAT Tom Brady needs to worry about spreading legs or anything.
I don't know.
He's-
I mean, everybody spread those cheeks, so maybe yes. I don't know.
Well,
You
maybe.
think,
yeah.
you think maybe this is getting ready for the Olympics?
Tom
Like
Brady.
flag football's in the Olympics.
That's true. I mean,
That would be
Tyreek Hill on his
absolutely
the one that-
insane.
seriously.
I saw that people were. I saw a guy who was like professional flag football player who was like getting kind of heated because he's like, they're just going to take our NFL guys. And he's like, I've been playing this sport for 7 years, and I'm the we're the best at it. Da 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 da. I mean, kind of has a point. I mean, he did grind, but then again, like he ain't matching up against, Stephon Diggs.
That's always the annoyance. Like you want like the originality of the Olympics is supposed to be like an amateur thing, and then you have these team sport leagues just have all these professionals, but that's like that all across the world with soccer leagues and stuff like that too. So you can't have it both ways.
Soccer leagues.
Wow.
Goody, what type of alien do you think is growing in Errol's throat?
It's a freaking cockadillion or something. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Cock-a-doodle-doo, as we all know.
Actually, one thing off topic. There was a report that came out just recently that Pokemon cards have outperformed S&P by over 3,000%, and that major.
S&M? Is it outperformed S&M?
I don't even know you're.
Are the Pokemon's going to be in the next Olympic sport too?
No, but maybe. But what I'm saying is, it's a good investment, and major investors across the world, not just in America, but in Japan and China, are starting to invest heavily into it because of the returns.
I will
Just
say,
FYI.
I just want to mention what you're saying with the Saudi Arabian one. They're another one that's trying to steal a lot of those sports too. Like their soccer leagues are forming there. You mentioned Dubai with baseball too. Like there's a lot of those.
Yeah, there's a Dubai league out in baseball that starts in the I think it's like in December.
November, I think.
November,
December.
I think Josh on his show was mentioning something they're trying to like grow something with a wrestling partnership over there too. Like there's a lot of like things they're just trying to take over just because they have all that money.
Well, it's
WWE, WrestlePalooza.
Okay.
All right, hold off. I think someone's going to do that one for What's That Smell in a little bit. But
Oh,
Goody.
sorry, Poops.
But Goody, better rate of return than baseball cards and football cards and stuff like that? Are we talking like this is the type of card we need to get going forwards?
Well,
Let's not talk
it's
about
safe.
it.
It's a safer bet because Charizard's not going to get a DUI and Blastoise isn't going to get a sexual assault charge. You know what I'm saying? So it's a safer bet. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I was just listening to a guy talk about it, and he's like, "There's going to be some dips, but like there was like a couple cards. It's like the Van Gogh Pikachu is what they call it. It was like for $1,300 30 days ago. It's $3,000 today."
How do we go off from sports to Pokemon?
It's good.
Wait,
Did Van
Gogh Pokemon cut his ear off?
It's Great Felt Hat Pikachu is what it's called, but I don't know. I don't have one.
Because Van Gogh cut his ear off. Is that Pikachu with
he
no
mailed
ear?
it to like his wife or something, right? He mailed it to somebody.
I don't know how to mail work back in those days, but something like that.
Yeah, he did. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm telling you, dude, don't believe me. Look it up. The article's out there. Just check it out.
Yeah.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Anyways, that, ladies and gentlemen, was Goody's Bag of Ball. I just, before we get into What's That Smell, I didn't get a chance to speak about this story. And the New York Knicks actually signed another guard over the week. And it was a very interesting story. And I wanted to bring this up. I never got a chance to bring it up. I have something for What's That Smell, because it smells like crap. But Malcolm Brogdon is now a New York Knick, and I really, really like this move by the New York Knicks. They needed to solidify their guard play after what happened in the playoffs last year against Indiana. Now, Indiana is not going to have Hal Burton all season next year after tearing his Achilles, but I think adding Jordan Clarkson and adding Malcolm Brogdon, it gives them that depth that they needed. Now, I do believe that Malcolm Brogdon, if he stays healthy, he gives them that defensive prowess that they're going to need at that guard position, because we all know the one and only Mr. Brilliant, he doesn't play defense. So Jalen Brunson doesn't play defense, and Jordan Clarkson is not a defender either. So they needed to add the depth on that defensive side of the ball. I like this move by the New York Knicks. I know a lot of people are questioning who is the number one Eastern Conference team going into this year's season. I don't think there's an argument now. Cleveland has a squad. Cleveland didn't add any pieces in the offseason. I think adding a Malcolm Brogdon, adding Jordan Clarkson, and adding this kid from the 76ers, this French player, I think the Knicks added the depth that they needed to get over on the top of the Eastern Conference. Now, if the Knicks don't win or even get to the NBA championship this year, it's a complete loss. I know everybody keeps saying Mike Brown is a new coach and they need to figure things out early in the season. I think this team has played together enough. You added the pieces that you needed depth-wise. And Josh Hart now is coming off the bench. Yes. And I think this is good for the New York Knicks. This is a big story. I don't know why we didn't get a chance to speak about this. It's
only an Exhibit 9 contract, so it's just a camp tryout.
It doesn't matter. Malcolm Brogdon's making
there's no money.
He's making the team.
If he's healthy, the reason why he hasn't been on a team is because his knees are shot. The thing is, if he can play, what a great shot in the arm that is. That's getting a guy that nobody wanted, that people thought were done. There's always a story like that, right, Errol? Where you have like the guy that everyone forgot about. It was like Isaiah Thomas years ago. Everyone just didn't think about him. And all of a sudden he signs with the Celtics and he has that great run. And then like it happened to him a second time where everyone thought he was washed up because he got hurt with the Celtics, and then had a nice mini run when he had one last chance. You like to see guys like this. In Brogdon, he's had a couple of tough years and he's had some injuries that he's played through. But if the Knicks can get anything out of him, my goodness.
This is a huge.
But it's only an Exhibit 9 contract.
It doesn't matter. It's a 1-year deal. The Knicks have signed him for 1 year. And I think the Knicks are going to keep him on this roster. He's going to start the exhibition games with the Knicks. I think he makes the squad. And he is going to be a part of the top 12. As far as I'm concerned, the secondary players that are going to be coming off the bench for the New York Knicks. He's a defensive type of player. He can add offense to this team. I think the Knicks have a tremendous bench now that they're going to be able to exhibit in an Eastern Conference right now, that there really isn't a Boston Celtic team that you're going to have to worry about. They lost Porzingis. They moved on with Porzingis. He goes to the Hawks. Maybe the Hawks surprise people. I don't think the Hawks are going to be any good still, even with the extra additions that they've had in the offseason.
They're stuck in mediocrity.
And I think the only team that's going to challenge the New York Knicks now in the Eastern Conference is the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Cleveland didn't add anything in the offseason. So they're practically the same team going into the new season. And the Knicks are much better. They added the depth that they needed that they didn't have in the playoffs, especially on the boards, adding what they added. So I think this is a big move. I disagree with you, Fish. I know it's an Exhibit 9 contract. He's making it.
It doesn't count. It's like a free look at a guy. You don't have to pay against the cap. There's no money change hands. The only money that it gets to it if he makes the team opening night. So there's like Exhibit 9 contracts like that for guys that used to be something in the league. Then they have Exhibit 10 contracts where you can also get paid if you play 60 days in the G League for the team. So that's like...
And I'm going to give this an Exhibit 1 because he's making the team, and the Knicks absolutely slam dunked this move. Malcolm Brogdon is a great defender, and you don't even have to play him more than 10 minutes a game. He's going to be able to defend your top point guard. And I'm telling you, he's making the team.
Look, if he's healthy, he's better than anyone else that's in that category.
He's making the team. And by the way, Mike Brown coached Malcolm Brogdon. And,
I think that's why he's going to be there. Yeah,
he's making the squad 100%, and he doesn't have to play more than 10 or 12 minutes, and he's absolutely going to be a very big part of this Knicks run. If there's a chance the Knicks win a championship this year, it's this coming year because they're by far the favorites are coming out of the Eastern Conference now. So that's all I'm going to say. Anyways. We call this What's That Smell?
Hold up. What is that smell?
What's that smell?
Wow.
Not every day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't have a guest, so I want to give a shout out to Mincy. Jeremy Mincy couldn't join us. He had a flat tire. We'll have him on. I promise you guys, if you never got a chance to listen to him and hear his takes, I would have loved to hear his take on the Broncos and what that debacle of a game that they had this past week against Daniel Jones, baby. Daniel Jones. Anyways.
Hey, Aaron, hold on. This makes me think of something. We, and Goody, you probably did this too with some random just BS in the clubhouse. We were in a rain delay, actually. And it made me think of this in just one of those weird clubhouse moments. We went through, and of the 25 active, because we were all just hanging out, because that's when the media can't come in, so everybody actually hangs out at their locker. We did who knows how to change a tire. What do you think of there was probably, let's just say 20 guys, because there were some guys probably roaming. What do you think? And I'll never forget this.
Who do we think?
Out of 20 guys, we could go back through and talk about, I'm not going to say who, but who do you think, how many people do you think out of 20 knew how to actually change a tire the right way?
2.
I'm going to say 3.
2.
This was in New York?
Yeah.
Yes.
And this
what year was this? Because I know Brett Gardner for sure knows how to change a tire.
Yeah, this was first couple years of new stadium.
I'll say 4.
You guys aren't too far off. It was 6. You were 100% Gardy. Yeah, for sure.
And was McCann there? Because I'm sure he knows how to do it.
No, McCann was not.
McCann wasn't there.
Burnett was one.
We know Jeter.
Burnett. I got to go back and look through the roster. Burnett, yeah, for sure. McCann, probably.
But I was just they're like, no way. And I'm like, you don't know how, they had no idea, what it was amazing to me. And then there were some where you're like, yeah, you better. And then there was some where I thought maybe. And then there was 2 that I was like, there's no chance. And they're like, yeah. And then we got to how you actually tighten. And they actually knew you go in a star pattern. And I was like, okay, they do know how to change a tire.
So, it's a funny story because remember my car was making this weird sound in the front end. And we were driving and my friend was telling me, I was telling him there's something wrong with my brakes. And he said, your brakes were just changed. So I'm like, why is it? It sounds like something's rubbing. So he says, go check your lug nuts because it might be loose. I said, why would they be loose when you just tighten them? So he says, kick the wheel, and if it moves, the lug nuts move, it's loose. So I kicked the wheel, it wasn't loose. So I'm like, no, it's not loose. So 24 hours later, I went to a fair, and my friend meets me at the mechanic shop, and he's like, I'm telling you, this doesn't make any sense. We took it out. So he tells me, because he just had hernia, surgery. He's a mechanic. He says, get on your hands and knees, go in the back.
Oh, sure. That's what he
said. Listen,
yeah.
Disgusting.
Of
pick.
course.
Anyway,
you
sure it was the lug nut?
It's the lug nut. So
here's some ass play coming.
I find out that somebody, I'm being serious, somebody loosened my lug nuts. And if I waited, and you guys, you could cover your eyes all you want. I know what you're trying to say, Fish. I'm not a ridiculous idiot. But the funny thing is, well, it's not even funny. If I would have left it for another 24 hours, my wheel would have fell off, and who knows what could have happened. It could have put me in a death trap. So it's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. It actually, somebody loosened my lug nuts, and it's pretty scary.
Think they actually went to target you, or they're just like,
I don't know. I have no idea. It happened. It had to happen over Saturday night when I was DJing at an event. Because it didn't. It wasn't making that noise. No, it wasn't making that. Shut up, Jabba.
Droba, ass liquor.
Anyways, no, I'm being serious. So I was going into Sunday. It was making.
So you think someone went out during the party and was like, "I hate that DJ. I'm going to loosen his."
I don't think it was because he hated the way I was spinning. I think. Something happened that night, and I'm not going to mention on the thing. Something happened, and somebody loosened my lug nuts. Yep, and thank God, fortunately, that 24
didn't
hours.
key the car or anything like that either.
No. Who loosens up somebody's lug nuts and puts them, puts somebody at in harm's way.
I mean, I knew guys that would steal the caps, and they would put them on their bicycles and stuff like
Nobody
that. But that's
does
it.
that. Nobody does
or
that.
hood ornaments. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, hood ornaments.
I don't know, but it's scary because Speedy remembers. I was like, "What's that freaking sound?" And he told me, "Check your lug nuts." And I was like, "Yeah, I kicked it." And he says, "They're not moving." So he says, "I don't know. We'll look at it." And the next day at a fair, we went to a fair. It's scary, dude. I could.
Hell yeah.
I could have died.
Be rolling and then it rolls off.
I could have died. I absolutely could have died. It's crazy. And shout out to
Hey,
my
you
friend
had
Eric.
3 other wheels. You'd be all right.
No, I'm telling you, my friend actually.
Ghost ride the whip.
Yeah,
Ghost ride the whip.
You guys are assholes. You know that? You guys are real assholes.
You definitely could pull off a stunt like in Fast
of course.
and Furious.
Of all the body parts, we have to be assholes.
You could do it. Errol's like super athlete at this.
First of all, this isn't twins. Like, what was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was driving on 2 wheels. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, and it never happened. So, anyways, so what's that smell is pretty simple. We go around in a circle and we tell you a story. We tell you what it smells like. So, we're gonna go. We'll go fish. We'll go poops. We'll go Goody. We'll go Speedy. We'll go Jabba. We'll go me. Here we go.
All right. I've got to start with one that has driven me crazy. The school year is restarted. I'm coaching football. But the thing that's gone me crazy is in the classroom. It's all these kids going 6'7". Oh, 6'7". I had to look up what the heck this is. And the kid, and look, I'm with a student with special needs, and he knows the whole 6'7" song by apparently Skrillex or Skrilla. Tommy, you're gonna have to correct me. Skrilla, the rapper. Anyway, he has a verse where it goes 6'7". Apparently, it was a meme off of LiAngelo Ball. LiAngelo Ball. They were talking about him being how tall he was, 6'1" or 6'2", and then there was a video that says, "Nah, he's 6'7", and it bursts into that verse. Now, ever since that happened, I guess a handful of months ago, everyone who has anyone between the ages of 10 and 16 in their presence, your life is miserable. It is horrible, and you have to deal with the stupid comments and the stupid 6'7" all day long. It's the worst thing ever. What does it smell like? It smells like a school bathroom after a bunch of school lunches ended up going the wrong way into the exact same overflowing toilet.
Wow.
All right then.
6'7".
What? So how did they? In what context?
That's the first I've heard of it.
That generation, it's after your generation, Tommy. You're now old. That's what happens.
Jared said
you
it went
miss
back to
things
him.
like this. Jared knew a little bit about it, but
there isn't. It means no. Oh my god.
It means nothing. Like everything in their generation, it means nothing. Nothing.
You're fired.
All right.
My pinky is bigger than yours.
Speaking of that, you're fired comment. I'm going to actually be going over some WWE because over this, I'd say it's about a week and some change ago.
Doo-doo.
Triple H actually came out with a gang of guys and announced that WrestleMania.
A gang of guys.
Gang of guys.
Did he play with his luck now?
His gang of his guys. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, announced that WrestleMania 43 will be held in beloved Saudi Arabia in the year 2027. Now, I say that beloved because I don't know what it is, but WWE has this long-term deal with Saudi Arabia. And I must say, as a fan, their product, even they're over in Saudi Arabia, their matches, the quality of those matches over there, they haven't been too good. Now, my problem with that is I'm not going to be like the online neckbeards that are over there, complaining left and right about it. I think it's silly for only 2 reasons. One, of course, like I said, this it's a bit of a declining pay-per-view. All the matches and all the events that are over there in Saudi Arabia aren't the best. So when you put something like WrestleMania, which is dubbed as their Super Bowl, I don't know how you have to deliver. You have to deliver on every match that you put out there, especially if you're doing it somewhere so far.
Breaking
to the
news.
US, so far to the U.S. like Saudi Arabia, and something like last WrestleMania where they fell flat on their face. You can tell that it could be a snoozer of a WrestleMania. On top of that, another thing is I don't know why, if we're having Saudi Arabia and if we're having WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, that means that this pay-per-view is going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning some places, 10 o'clock in the morning, I don't know if the Super Bowl would start at 10 in the morning, but what does it smell like? It smells like the rear end of a striped hyena, which according to ChatGPT is the smelliest animal in parts of Saudi Arabia due to its famous for its powerful anal gland secretions.
Smell my ass.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
farted.
There we go.
Smell my ass. Do you want to jerk me off?
Wow. That's pretty gross.
Smell my ass. I need Brittany also.
We need to literally every time he touches the soundboard, he needs to get zapped.
Smell my ass.
No,
Oh,
what Errol needs to do is put the Nithin sound bites
Smell
over
my
a
ass.
beat
I am a legend.
and start spinning it at his shows and make Nithin the
Another
biggest
toe job.
thing that's ever happened in Long Island.
I love Lisa.
And then it goes, smell my ass.
That went over like a fart in church.
Yeah. Dude wipes. Dude wipes.
As long as she's using dude wipes and taking care of my two hole, I'm good.
And then drop the beat right after that, dude. People would
Never
lose
going
their
wrong.
shit, literally.
I
Yeah.
take shit.
All it takes apparently is to drop a beat after saying 6, 7,
I'll let
and
you
now
lick
you're
my
super
butt.
famous.
I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire.
Yeah,
Those
I
are all
mean, you could
good.
go dude wipes into like shake it like a salt shaker. There's so many.
As long
avenues
as she's
you could
using
go
dude
to.
wipes and taking care of my two hole, I'm
Yeah.
good. Another
I'm
toe
good.
job.
There's a great Bojangles reference in that song.
Yes. Or baby
Yeah.
got back. Oh yeah.
That's called sex.
All right. NCAA is investigating former basketball players for betting violations. The NCAA is investigating 13 former men's basketball players from 6 universities for alleged sports betting violations. Violations include betting on or against their own teams, sharing insider information, manipulating game outcomes, and refusing to cooperate with investigators. I can go a lot of different routes here, but I don't want to get canceled just yet. Okay. As I'm still trying to be employed by MLB. So wow. This smells like
3 guys.
rotten sushi from Gyro's Heroes Sushi Shop. If you don't know who that is, go on Netflix. Gyro loves sushi. It's the best sushi shop in the world, but this smells like his rotten sushi that he forgot about for a long time. Fishy.
Aged sushi.
Smells fishy to me. Smells like all those busted brackets were on purpose.
Ooh.
Oh, is it the latest conspiracy now?
Oh, all those March Madness dollars are being funneled right to you know who.
All right, Goody, I need your perfect bracket conspiracy.
99% of the world wants it.
Hey, it can't be perfect because these dang 15-year-olds or 18-year-olds in college are betting on each other now. So it's crazy to me, anyways, that you could bet on college sports simply because you're putting money on an 18 to 22-year-old. Oh, I guess you know what? Same thing could be considered when we send them to war as well. So our freedoms are at stake, I guess, at that point.
Goody, you can bet on anything. I mean, I've bet on how many kids are going to have the same last name at a graduation while I was waiting for a time to pass with another teacher.
6, 7 irrelevant.
Yeah, but did you go on to Fanatics and do that? Or whatever the new ones are now? I don't even know. DraftKings. Like, you can go on DraftKings and bet. Hey, you can go on to DraftKings and bet that this first pitch of the second inning will be a ball.
Yeah. I think Emmanuel Clase saw that a little bit too.
Oh,
that was another one that smelled. They just extended his paid leave.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah, he's getting ready to play winter ball for the Estrellas.
A lot of the Dominicans, this is their time that they start getting ready for their season.
That's what I'm saying. He's getting ready for that season.
Yeah. Yep.
Ram Jam.
Yeah. That's what it said. I just read a report. Him and Luis Ortiz are down in the DRB, getting ready to pitch for the Estrellas.
That was going to be what's that smell until a nice
sad.
LSU story popped its head.
Oh, what we got?
Jama's got an LSU story for Goody, but first I have to build up the anticipation for it with mine.
Old man.
And
All
mine.
right, let's skip Fish or skip Speedy.
Oh, Goody, you need to get the build up going. You need
All right,
to.
let's hear it.
Well, I get to mine. Mine
You're
has to do
edging
with,
me.
Yes, I am.
Dildo.
Mine has to do with a team that we've loved to pick on over the years in the Kansas City Chiefs and all their off-field issue, and the latest one being suspended, obviously, is Rashee Rice. So before the game against the Eagles, they all have shirts on saying "Free Rashee." Obviously, we've seen different messages on shirts over the years of obviously different movements and stuff like that, and causes that are actually much more relevant. You want to free a guy that had 2 different violent instances during the season. It's one thing if they're like wrongfully charged of something or wrongfully suspended of something suspicious with the NFL, like a random drug test. This is a guy that caused a car wreck and then also beat up a photographer at a nightclub, and you want him to be freed. There's been other guys suspended for doing way less in the NFL. So it's a really bad look for the Kansas City Chiefs players. What does that smell like? It smells like a car full of the 12-year-old cheeseburgers that Andy Reid was eating when he first got the Chiefs coaching job.
Ball bag.
Hell yeah.
All right, All right, Goody. I had to do this for you.
Let's hear it, baby.
It's not your school per se, but it has to do. So there was a math teacher in Baton Rouge. Just happened to be at an LSU football game tailgating, and just so happened to be partaking in some real good extracurriculars.
Hell yeah.
And it just so happened she got a random drug test, and it just happened to be a drug-sniffing dog that got into her classroom. She said it was her friend's, but she was at an LSU tailgate, and she did snort it, and that's why they won. So let's just that smells like LSU really knows how to party and why they keep winning, because not only are the players geeked out of their mind, so are the fans.
See, now, if Brian Kelly did that, would he actually win a national championship? What do you think?
I love the excuses. I mean, that's why they won. So
Mario.
You know.
And you know what? I bet you the police officer was probably like,
point.
Keep snorting it. We're going to the ship this year.
That's the best, though. I loved how
Go
the fact she
Tigers.
said it was her
Tigers.
friends, but she did snort it at the game, and that
Spread his cheeks.
I was like, this is great.
That's why they won.
It's America right there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my What's That Smell goes to Jake Paul, ladies and gentlemen. What announcement right now. Jake Paul and Javonte Davis have reportedly withdrawn their request for an event permits in Atlanta, per chairman of Georgia State Commission Rick Thompson said. I believe it's in the public's interest to know, because they've been promoting something they should not have been. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It's money grabber, and I'm not okay with that. Robert A. Sinners, communications director of office secretary of the state, told USA Today about the event will not be happening due to the weight discrepancy. Ladies and gentlemen, so you know what they're doing? They're moving the fight to Miami. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because they don't need to go to the board. They can have the fight. It doesn't matter what weight class it is, because the boxing committee has no control over Miami and the weight classes over there. So what does that smell? Well, it smells like Javonte Davis, Tank as they call him, is going to shoot a tank up Jake Paul's ass and sniff it out of the one and only Cardi B's. So it smells like shit. That's what it smells like, because that's what they say she smells like. So anyways, yeah, that story is absolutely pathetic. And I'm interested to see if this fight actually happens, because even though they've moved it to November 14th, that's what they're saying. That's when the fight's going to be held. I don't know how this is going to, honestly, even if Javonte Davis fights him, Tank fights him, he's going to knock him out in the first round. Doesn't matter about the weight class. It really doesn't. I know obviously in boxing, it's all about the weight class. Jake Paul is not a boxer. He's a promoter. He's a marketer. That's what he does. This is the first real boxer he's going to fight against. This guy, at one point, probably a year and a half ago, you could argue was the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And now you're going to put him in a ring with a guy that really doesn't last more than a round in most of his fights. He's fighting 2-minute rounds, and now he's going against a guy that ends guys. He boxes and spars against heavyweights. It doesn't make any sense. I think Jake Paul is asking for a death sentence. Unless he's paying off Gervonta Davis, and he's going to try to get him to go through 7 rounds with Gervonta Davis, and he's going to pay him whatever it takes to get through those 7 rounds so he can prove the fact that he could fight Canelo Alvarez. He's not fighting Canelo, and Canelo will never buy into this. By the way, did you guys hear what Bud got paid for that fight? Bud got paid $10 million to Canelo Alvarez over $150 million. Think about that.
Well, it was 2 different things. Canelo was on a contract. Bud wanted to fight, and he didn't care about the money.
I know that, but just think about that. Bud fought Canelo Alvarez for $10 million. I know he didn't care about the $10 million, and it's actually one of the highest purses Bud has ever made in a fight. Canelo Alvarez, who really, to me, got dominated the whole fight. I don't even think he won more than 1 round in that fight, just made himself $150 million after getting his butt whipped by Bud. So I would lose. I'll tie my hands behind the back. If I'm making $150 million for the fight, I would have tied my hands behind my back. And by the way, at the end of the fight, before he went up there to talk to the media, Bud actually gave Canelo back his belts because those are Canelo's belts. And it's just it's such a class act. Bud is. He really is. What a nice guy.
You realize we were on the same show when I said these same things on Monday, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I was just making sure. I didn't know we were doubling up.
Why can't I?
No, I was just you're using my notes. I was just wondering.
I want to spread my cheeks too. I mean, seriously.
There it is. We were waiting for it, Goody.
Yeah.
There was something to have to do with the butthole.
Spread his cheeks.
It's unbelievable.
Spread his cheeks. Do you know a rooster is a cock?
Like clockwork.
Anyways, yeah. So I what a class act Bud is. I really give him a little bit of more credit, And also, Bud has been on 2 podcasts over the last 2 days, and he said on those 2 podcasts that Canelo Alvarez's punches were not as heavy and as hard as some of the boxers he has fought in the ring. And he has fought guys that were lighter than him. And he said that Canelo's punches were not as heavy as people thought it would be. So he actually thought that Canelo Alvarez, he didn't say this, but I would use the words of a boxer, probably thought that Canelo Alvarez is a bitch. And that's what I kind of put 2 and 2 together when I listened to the podcast that he was on. But he gave Canelo a lot of credit. He's an ambassador of boxing. But Canelo is, to me, everybody said, Max Kellerman came out and said over the last 24 to 48 hours on all different podcasts as well, says that Canelo Alvarez has fought every single fighter he's come accustomed to fighting. And that's not true. Canelo Alvarez has been ducking and weaving a bunch of fighters over the last couple of years. He fought Bud because he thought he can beat Bud, and Bud had to put on 21 pounds to fight him, and he thought that he was just a better boxer, in which he realized that Bud fought him southpaw. He could fight him right-handed. He fought him southpaw the whole fight, and the only time he ripped his face is when he headbutted him in the 8th round. So
do you think Jake Paul goes like to these guys or whatever, just like he obviously he handpicks them, but like has the conversation like, hey, you know what, you're gonna make X, Y, and Z, it's, I mean, kind of like an upgraded WWE. Like it's like, okay, we have to go at least like 6 rounds, and you're guaranteed $8 million. I'm just throwing just random. Like, do you think that's a real conversation?
100%. And I'm gonna say this: Davis lets Jake Paul last more than 4 rounds, and he doesn't knock him the hell out. It makes Gervonta Davis look really, really bad. Tank is a knockout puncher. He's one of the best, top 3 still, in my eyes, top 3 pound-for-pound boxers right now in the world. And
I get what Jake Paul's doing, but do you think these guys that are still like, and can go fight and whatever, but it's like, why wouldn't I take this payday when I know I'm still a great fighter, but I'm not going to get nearly what I'm going to get if I just box regularly.
Because Jabba, here's the thing. If he lasts 7 rounds with however long these rounds are going to be, I think it's 7 rounds, 9 rounds, whatever it is. If he lasts 7 rounds, he's going to say, well, I just lasted with one of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. I could fight Canelo. I could fight anybody in my weight class.
Right.
Beat him. That's what he's doing.
But these regular boxers are like, I can take a $10, $12 million payday when if I'm just fighting a good boxer, I'm going to make, $1 million, $2 million.
Just think about this, guys. Gervonta Davis fights and he walks between 130 and 140. And Jake Paul walks between 200 and 210. So you're talking about almost 50, 60 pound difference. And Gervonta knows that he's getting in a ring with a guy that's 50, 60 pounds heavier than him and still knows in his heart of hearts that he can knock him the F out. So I just think it's really Jake's just trying to sell something. I got to give Jake a little bit of credit. He's a great marketing guy. He campaigns these fights. He knows that he's talking to Gervonta Davis's team. He probably is negotiating something, how far and how long he can last throughout the first 3 or 4 rounds before he gets knocked the F out. But I'm interested to see how Gervonta Davis reacts to this fight when the fight gets closer in November. So I think this is an embarrassment for boxing. I really do. But I got to give Jake a little bit of credit. He knows how to market it, and he's smart. He's a smart man. He's going to make $50 million on this fight, by the way. $50 million on this fight. It's ridiculous. But Tank wants the money, baby. Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Jeremy Mincy. I want to apologize. He couldn't make it because of a flat tire, but he'll be on probably in the next couple of weeks. So we promise you that. Thank you to all the fans on all the social medias that we're on, including Spotify and Apple, video and audio. Shout out to all the fans that have downloaded our show throughout the last year. We really appreciate you guys. TikTok, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, YouTube, Jabba in the Mouth, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Guys, subscribe. Keep following us. We really appreciate all the fans that tune in to all the different takes that we have throughout the week. And thank you to all the Instagram fans as well. Jabba in the Mouth, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Rolo the Mouth 34. So thank you all the fans tuning in and checking out and giving me all their ridiculous remarks. I got to say they are ridiculous. Yeah, that's it. We'll be back on Monday. Speedy, who do we have on?
Daryl Reed, former Colts and Broncos defensive lineman. He's been on our show a lot. Time to be determined. He didn't give me a time yet, but he said Monday is good for
I like
him.
Daryl. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's a good personality. Very funny, too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And he loves attacking me, so you guys are like that. Daryl is he's been on our show before, and I've attacked his takes on the Atlanta Falcons. So interesting personality, no question. And who do we have on?
No, Wednesday is our friend from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Jack Sperry, will be joining us on Wednesday, 8:45.
Oh, I can't wait to hear Jack's bullcrap that comes out of his mouth.
Fresh off the Steelers versus Jets game.
Please. That's the only thing he can brag about. That's about it. That debacle of a game in game number 2 was just absolutely pathetic. And I drafted one of his running backs, and he just absolutely embarrassed me. Yeah. So Jack Sperry, we are working on some big guests, and me and Job have been speaking about it. So I promise you guys, over the next couple of weeks, we're working on live shows as well. We're going to be doing some live shows before the new year. So we're working on that. So when the things start to roll and we get closer to it, we'll let you guys know. We'll make an announcement. So. But thank you to all the fans. We really appreciate you guys. Listen to the Weekend Crunch. Airs on 103.9 FM here in Long Island at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. I'm sure you're going to love some of the takes and some of the content we're going to be putting out there this coming weekend. Good night, everybody.
It's the worldwide